Chapter 310. You're more suited to live in a fairytale world. Liu Xinnan was furious. Li Fan was obviously looking down on her. Who was she? When had she ever suffered such humiliation? She really wanted to tear this guy's mouth apart. Humph. Seeing him annoyed her. What are we eating tonight? Li Fan casually asked. My dad likes simple things, so it's just ordinary Chinese food. Liu Xinnan nervously looked at Li Fan. You won't dislike it, right? It's just a home-cooked meal. Li Fan was indifferent to this. Just make more. I have a big appetite. As a martial arts practitioner, although Li Fan absorbed most of his qi through his pores, it was also important to obtain rich energy from food. Don't worry. I will definitely make sure you're full. Liu Xinnan giggled. The chef in my house is very good. Even I don't like to eat out. Then let's try it. I hope it's not a Hongmen banquet. Yeah, that's hard to say. Liu Xinnan seemed to smile even more happily. As far as I know, there's a little friend named Yang Ruining attending the banquet tonight. Fuck, what did you say? Li Fan almost jumped out of the car. If not for the car's roof, he probably would have jumped out. You're only telling me now? Aren't you tricking me into getting on the boat? It's better than tricking you into bed. Liu Xinnan was a little proud. Since you're in this old lady's car, you should accept your fate. You're tricking me. I'm not happy. Li Fan strongly objected. Isn't our hero Li very loyal to his friends? Why is he a little scared now? Are you afraid of Yang Ruining? Are you kidding me? Why would I be afraid of him? It's more like he's afraid of me. Li Fan glared. Comparing me to him is an insult to me. Alright, since you're not afraid of him, why are you so agitated? I can't let Liu Xinnan catch me. Li Fan rolled his eyes and said, I think you've never treated me as a real friend. Li Fan's eyes were slightly red. I feel that you've never been open to me, but have used me time and time again. Actually, I'm a little upset. I didn't mean that. Liu Xinnan suddenly felt a little flustered, while Li Fan continued to say with his head lowered. Did I make a mistake? Maybe we've never been friends. That's right, we're just working together. I was thinking too much. No, we are indeed good friends. Liu Xinnan felt a little weird when she said that, but the main thing now was to make Li Fan happy. He didn't expect Li Fan to be so strong on the outside and so powerful on the inside, but he was so fragile. Seeing Li Fan like this, Liu Xinnan's heart softened. Alright, it's my fault. Liu Xinnan apologized very seriously. You're much stronger than Yang Ruining. He's just a scum. In my heart, no one can compare to you. Really? Yes, really. Then kiss me and I won't be angry anymore. Hey. Liu Xinnan suddenly understood and angrily looked at Li Fan. You're playing with me. How is that possible? You're doubting me again. Can't we have more trust in our friendship? Trust your sister. Liu Xinnan was about to explode. I knew you can't be trusted. Bastard. It's this distrust that pulled our relationship apart. Li Fan said unhurriedly, you must fully trust me so that I can give you the best return. Feed back your sister. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Liu Xinnan turned her head, not wanting to look at Li Fan. But your suit is too ugly. Liu Xinnan couldn't help but ridicule. Where is this from? It's too shameful. I bought this with my own money. It's a big brand, Balino. Balino, your sister. That brand has been tarnished by Huang Bo's iconic image. Liu Xinnan was speechless. Don't say that. Huang Bo is my favorite actor. Li Fan defended his idol. That's none of my business. But if you need, I can help you get his autograph. Liu Xinnan seemed to be tempting Li Fan. I can even arrange for you to film with Huang Bo, as long as you obey me. That's impossible. Li Fan wouldn't fall into Liu Xinnan's trap. His heart was firm and unwavering. Besides, I don't want to be an actor. I'm such a low-key person. I'll just be a martial artist. Moreover, I work in an escort agency. Being too high profile isn't good for the agency's development. You didn't even think of this. Liu Xinnan looked at Li Fan seriously. A person like you will amaze the world sooner or later. Even if you want to be low-key, the entire underworld will spread your name. At least you have a good eye. Li Fan laughed. If you say so, I won't refute. Bah, you're an egomaniac. Everyone has the right to say that about me, but you don't. Li Fan rolled his eyes. You're a super narcissistic woman. I'm narcissistic. I have the right. Liu Xinnan said without humility. For more than 10 years, I've been working hard in society. I got to where I am today because of my own hard work. Why can't I be proud and narcissistic? If I don't even have the right, what's the point of my hard work? From your tone, you seem to be saying that people live to be pretentious. Millimeter, something like that. Liu Xinnan nodded, which made Li Fan speechless. After a long time, she seemed to recall something and said to Li Fan seriously, since you're here with me today, I'll give you a piece of information. What information? About Storm. This organization likes to send out undercover agents to lurk around the target before taking action. Fuck, is that true? Oh. Someone told you about it. Liu Xinnan was unhappy. She wasn't the first person to tell Li Fan. Yes, but I think the people around me are trustworthy. How naive. Liu Xinnan looked at Li Fan with disdain. I didn't expect you to be so naive. I'm so disappointed. No, there's a suspicious person around me. Oh? Who is it? Liu Xinnan looked at Li Fan curiously. Li Fan pointed at her and said, It's you, Liu Xinnan, Miss Liu. Fuck off. Liu Xinnan looked at him angrily. If you talk nonsense again, I'll throw you out of the car. Come on, I'm looking forward to it. Go to hell. The two were bickering when the driver slowed down the car. Miss, we're home. Chapter 3:11. Li Fan, don't be afraid. It's nothing out of the ordinary. When they got off the car, Liu Xinnan seemed to be comforting Li Fan. If my dad points a gun at your head, don't be afraid. He's just scaring you. Fuck. Li Fan wanted to go back to the car, but Liu Xinnan grabbed his arm and forcefully brought Li Fan into their villa. Rather than a villa, it was more like a courtyard. There were soldiers standing guard outside. They let Liu Xinnan in after checking her pass. Damn, isn't this a military compound? Liu Xinnan actually lives in this kind of place. My dad is a veteran who participated in the Vietnam War, so he has some power now. Liu Xinnan pulled Li Fan into the courtyard and gave him a heads up. He's a hot-tempered and straightforward person. If there's anything wrong with him, please forgive him. Can I ask, what's Uncle's rank in the military? He's just a small regiment commander. Look at how scared you are. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. He's just the regiment commander of an independent regiment. Damn. Li Fan wanted to curse. Isn't this cheating me? No, cheating my boyfriend. What's the difference between the regiment commander of an independent regiment and a division commander? However, even if he's a division commander, he's just a few years older than me. How can a golden fish stay in a pond? Sooner or later, I'll become a dragon. Moreover, I'm a martial artist who has reached the peak of perfection. I'm already a rare master in this world. Even the slightest movement in the surroundings can't escape my eyes and ears. Reaching the pinnacle, climbing the peak, how could others understand the feeling of being on a high mountain? Thinking of this, Li Fan's mood improved a lot. He exuded the aura of a master. Even Liu Xinnan was a little surprised. Speaking of aura, it's really strange. Although it can't be seen or touched, it really exists. Li Fan was a very strange person. Usually, he looked no different from an ordinary high school student, but occasionally, his body would emit a powerful aura. When placed in front of you, it was like a high mountain, making you look up to him in admiration. Looking up to a high mountain, when he walked to Liu Xinnan's house, a soldier standing guard in front of the door saw Li Fan and subconsciously raised his right hand and saluted. When Li Fan walked in, he realized why he suddenly saluted. He obviously didn't know that man. How strange. Li Fan didn't notice this scene. He walked into Liu Xinnan's house. It's a 3-story house. A middle-aged female nanny came to take Xinnan of the house. This female nanny seemed to know the rules. She didn't look at Li Fan too much. Instead, she glanced at him briefly and continued to work with her head down. After Liu Xinnan and Li Fan walked in, they were in the living room. They heard a rough voice mixed with a young man's laughter. Li Fan took a closer look. The sofa in the living room was very simple. It was just a product of cloth. It didn't look like the furniture in Liu Xinnan's house. A middle-aged man in a military uniform was sitting there. Although his face was young and his body was quite strong, his hair was already white. He sat on the sofa with his body straight. It was probably a habit that he kept for many years. The old man smoked his handmade cigarettes. Although Li Fan didn't smoke, he could smell that the tobacco was definitely not ordinary. "Little Ning, this tobacco is really good. Did you steal it from your father, who is a capitalist?" The middle-aged man smoked while teasing Yang Ruining in front of him. "How could that be? My father specifically asked me to bring it to you." Yang Ruining hurriedly explained. He said that he hasn't seen Uncle for many years. He knows that Uncle likes this, so he repeatedly asked me to bring it over. "Bullshit." The middle-aged man curled his lips. "I don't know that old bastard. He's so stingy. How could he give me such a good tobacco? Unless he's crazy. Actually, my father still misses you very much." Yang Ruining was not annoyed. Instead, he continued to smile respectfully. "After all, we've been friends for so many years. He also always talks about you to me. That old guy is just a braggart. I didn't see him really come. But although he's not much, it's good that he has a son. Little Ning, if you have nothing to do, come visit us more often. Accompany this lonely empty nest old man." As he spoke, he even started to complain. The change in style was a bit big. Li Fan was somewhat dumbfounded. "Daddy, what are you talking about? How did you become an empty nest old man?" Liu Xinnan walked in holding Li Fan's arm and interrupted. "Raising a daughter who isn't at home every day and runs around everywhere. If I'm not an empty nest old man, then what am I?" The middle-aged man snorted and said in a bad mood. This old man was Liu Xinnan's father. He was once a famous big shot in a city, Liu Shanlong. "Nan Nan, you're back." Yang Ruining immediately got up to greet her. His gaze fell on Liu Xinnan's arm around Li Fan and immediately became cold. But Li Fan could not be bothered to look at him. His gaze was on the middle-aged man behind him. Dressed in a black coat, his hair was a little short, and his eyes were a little sinister. Ma Wenchang of Medicine King Valley. He was indeed here. It seemed that this guy had really become Yang Ruining's lackey, but Ma Wenchang did not recognize Li Fan. He looked at Li Fan as if he was looking at a nobody. "Daddy, this is my boyfriend, Li Fan." Liu Xinnan generously introduced Li Fan. "Because he's young, I didn't have the nerve to bring him home to meet you." "You still have the nerve to say that." Liu Shanlong was a little annoyed. "You found me a son-in-law who's a few years younger. What a scandal. If this gets out, where would I, Liu Shanlong, put my face?" This old man was really merciless. He was still here, but he spoke like this. It was too embarrassing. "Daddy, Li Fan is really a good person. You have to believe in your daughter's taste." Liu Xinnan took Li Fan's hand and interlocked their fingers. "Your daughter has no one else in this life. He's the one for me. Xiao Ning is still here." "How can you say that? Where would Xiao Ning put her face?" Li Fan felt that Liu Shanlong was not qualified to say this, and Yang Ruining's face darkened. "I don't care. Daddy, if you want to dote on me, then let me do as I say. I brought him back today to give you some peace of mind." "What peace of mind?" "I just want to take a pill to save my heart." Liu Shanlong was not angered to death by his daughter. He pointed at Li Fan. "Brat, come here." What did Li Fan mean? Was he going to beat him up? Chapter 312. Liu Xinnan pushed Li Fan from behind, meaning that Li Fan should hurry over. Li Fan muttered in his heart, "Are you trying to push me into the fire pit?" Liu Shanlong didn't look like a good person. Although he was a soldier, he was one of the bosses of the underworld in City A after all. If he got angry, perhaps even City A would tremble with him. "Forget it, no matter who he is, I'm an indomitable spirit. Why should I be afraid of him?" Thinking of this, Li Fan calmed down and took 2 steps forward. His pace was steady, as if he was just taking a walk. Seeing this scene, Liu Shanlong muttered in his heart. This kid is good. Facing me, he can still be so calm. He's really something. I hope he's not pretending to be like this. When Li Fan walked in front of Liu Shanlong and stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, Liu Shanlong actually had an illusion that compared with this kid, he was like a child, and the other party was an unclimbable mountain. Dangerous mountain. Who is this kid? Why does he have such a bearing? Since he was chosen by his precious daughter, it was impossible for Liu Shanlong not to investigate. According to the intelligence of his men, this Li Fan was just an ordinary high school student. His parents were poor and lived in the old city. Most importantly, it seemed that a shady woman moved into his home and rebuilt the house into a small Western-style house. Li Fan was now living there, and his parents were missing. In Liu Shanlong's view, this so-called high school student, Li Fan, should be a shameless gigolo. How could my daughter choose a gigolo? Uncle? When he walked over, he found that Liu Shanlong was slightly lost in thought, as if he was thinking about something. So, Li Fan called him softly. Ah. Liu Shanlong suddenly woke up, and his old face turned red. He originally wanted to show his power to Li Fan, but why did he make himself so uncomfortable? He had spent his entire life in the military and killed countless people. How could Liu Shanlong, who didn't even put the commander of the military region in his eyes, lose to a brat today? Stinking brat, who allowed you to chase after my daughter? Who gave you the right to do so? Liu Shanlong decided to continue with the original plan. He frowned and scolded Li Fan condescendingly. Don't you know that she has a fiancé? Uncle, I'm afraid you've misunderstood. Li Fan was neither servile nor overbearing. He cupped his hands and smiled. It was Nan Nan who chased me shamelessly. Liu Shanlong was stunned by her words, and the corner of Liu Xinnan's mouth twitched. To tell you the truth, I'm just an ordinary high school student. Li Fan sighed and then said, I just want to finish my university quietly and live my own life. However, I didn't expect that Nan Nan would suddenly fall in love with me and pursue me with all her might. I couldn't reject her no matter how hard I tried. I'm just a high school student. Why would I want to find a girl from the underworld as my girlfriend? How scary is that? Liu Xinnan wanted to scold him, and Liu Shanlong seemed to have signs of getting angry. However, Li Fan continued. However, I was still moved by Nanan's sincerity. She's better than I thought. She has a lot of good points, and it was these that deeply attracted me. Although Nan Nan is in the underworld, her heart is still pure. Moreover, she looks strong on the outside, but she's actually weak on the inside. It makes me want to protect her. Liu Xinnan felt that her eyes were a little wet. Although she knew that Li Fan was acting, she couldn't help but take it seriously. After all, Li Fan's words hit the bottom of her heart. She didn't expect this guy to know her so well. My daughter. Although I'm not very satisfied with her. Liu Shanlong, who originally wanted to show his power, was moved by these words and couldn't help but speak his mind. But she's my baby, my one and only. In my heart, I found the best man for her, and that's Yang Ruining. Uncle, I don't agree with you. Li Fan laughed. I respect you as a war hero, but your eyes aren't that good. Yang Ruining, this person, has done all kinds of evil outside. People call him the young thug of a city. As long as she's the daughter of a good family, she would hide far away. Li Fan, how can you say that? Yang Ruining glared at Li Fan. You actually slandered me in front of Uncle. Whether I'm slandering you or not, you know it in your heart. Li Fan looked at Yang Ruining and sneered. How was the chat with Wang Baiqiang last time? Didn't you want to join hands to deal with the Red Dragon Society? Why did you guys fight first? Nonsense. I and Big Brother Wang have been good brothers for many years. We often get together. As for dealing with the Red Dragon Society, that's even more unfounded. Just based on the pretense of the three families, you're maliciously slandering us. Don't try to sow discord between us. Although Yang Ruining's expression didn't change, he was surprised in his heart. How did this news leak out? If you don't want people to know, don't do it. Yang Ruining, you can hide it for a while, but you can't hide it forever. You're slandering me. All right, you two stop quarreling. After retiring from the underworld, Liu Shanlong was too lazy to care about those things in the underworld. The family business was handed over to his daughter to take care of. Since she didn't tell him, he didn't want to get involved. After all, he's old, and there are many things that he can't do. Today, I called you guys over to have a home-cooked meal, not to let the two of you quarrel. If you want to quarrel, hurry up and leave, I won't keep either of you. Uncle, you're right. I was rude. Li Fan cupped his hands, and young Ruining also hurriedly put on a smiling face. It's my fault, Uncle Liu. In a while, I'll drink with you as an apology. Good. Liu Shanlong slapped his thigh. Today, after entering this door, everyone no longer has any status in the underworld, we're all my juniors. Little Ning, although you and Nan Nan broke up, there's no love, but there's still friendship. Today, let's sit down and have a meal together and talk things out. As elders, we will naturally be relieved. Although Liu Shanlong isn't willing to talk about the relationship, there's still a hidden meaning in his words. Young Ruining heard it and muttered in his heart, this old fox. The Red Dragon Society is determined to win. Today, they will definitely let you have a good time. Also, Li Fan, who do you think you are, immediately turning you into a sacrifice for power? The few of them followed Liu Shanlong to the dining room, and young Ruining also secretly gave Ma Wenchang a look. Ma Wenchang understood tacitly. The four of them sat down. On the table are some home-cooked dishes. Northeast's double-cooked pork, boiled white pork, braised intestines. Indeed, it looks very simple, but the smell is different. It's clearly the work of a master chef. Liu Shanlong ordered the housekeeper to take out a few bottles of marotai and place them on the table. I won't bully you juniors, I'll leave first, 3 cup. Chapter 313. Liu Shanlong was indeed from the military. His alcohol tolerance was worthy of his military rank. He drank 3 glasses of white wine in a row, 1 sip at a time. After drinking, his expression did not change, making Li Fan secretly admire him. He was really an old wine jar. Daddy, don't drink so much. Liu Xinnan seemed to be a little unhappy. Although her old man was still considered healthy, his liver was not very good. She had asked him to quit drinking long ago, but he just could not quit. Haha, this wine is my blood. What flows in other people's veins is blood, but what flows in my veins is alcohol, ahaha. This old man laughed so happily that Liu Xinnan did not know what to say to him. Let me first toast Uncle Liu. Young Ruining raised his glass and toasted Liu Shanlong first before downing it in 1 gulp. After that, he filled another glass of white wine and faced Li Fan. Li Fan, brother Li, the two of us may have had some misunderstandings in the past, but it is better to squash enmity than keep it alive. I have also reflected on myself. I was too much. I should have treated brother Li as a friend and not be so overbearing. Thousands of words, all contained in this wine. Brother Li, let's toast. Saying that, young Ruining raised his glass. And Li Fan also raised his glass. But at this moment, Li Fan saw with his naked eye that Ma Wenchang, who was standing behind young Ruining, stretched out a finger and lightly flicked it. The green smoke fell into his glass and blended with the wine. There's a rat. Li Fan looked at the ground beside him and exclaimed. Everyone's gaze was attracted over. Li Fan took the opportunity to flick his finger, and the glass of wine immediately fell on the table in front of young Ruining. And young Ruining's glass of wine was in his hand. This method of swapping wine was clean and neat. No one else saw it, but Ma Wenchang noticed it. Because the wine in young Ruining's glass had turned green. This was a sign that he had poisoned it. Ma Wenchang was a little shocked, but Li Fan was sneering in his heart. This young Ruining was really sinister. If young Ruining wanted him to die on Liu Shanlong's dining table, then this matter would definitely be exposed by young Ruining. Then, Liu Shanlong would be investigated, and Liu Xinnan would have no one to rely on. Then, he could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only did they kill him, but they also dealt a blow to the Red Dragon Society. Not a bad plan. However, he was dreaming. Since Big Brother Yang has said so, I can't be careless. When they didn't find the mouse, they turned around and saw that Li Fan had already raised his glass and said with shame, I'm young and impetuous. It's my fault that I had a dispute with you. Take this cup of wine as my apology. After drinking this cup of wine, we're even. From now on, if there's anything you need, just say it. That is, if you can even open your mouth. He had studied the Medicine King Valley before. The Medicine King Valley was divided into two sects. One was the Yang sect and the other was the Yin sect. The people of the Yang sect practiced medicine to save the world. They painstakingly studied medicine so that they could walk the pugilistic world and cure people. While the people of the Yin sect were addicted to evil ways and developed poisons. Although their poison techniques were superb, they only knew how to use poison and did not know how to decipher it. Their poison could only be cured by the people of the Yang sect. If Yang Ruining drank this cup of poisoned wine, there would only be one ending for him, which was to bleed from his 7 orifices and die on the spot. When Ma Wenchang saw Yang Ruining raise his wine cup, he immediately reached out and pressed down on his wrist. You can't drink it. What? Yang Ruining was slightly unhappy. This Ma Wenchang, what was he doing? He asked him to deal with Li Fan. Why did he have to care about me? Anyways, you can't drink it. Ma Wenchang took someone's money to get rid of a calamity. Furthermore, he had to make use of this Yang Ruining. If Yang Ruining died, he would be in trouble. Ma Wenchang slapped the cup in Yang Ruining's hand away. The wine spilled on the ground, saving Yang Ruining's little life. This time, the scene was a bit awkward. Looking at Liu Shanlong's gaze, Yang Ruining hurriedly apologized. I'm sorry, Uncle Liu. This is an expert that I invited. An expert's temper is a bit strange. He did not mean to offend you. Uncle Liu, please forgive him. Forget it, I'll let you, an expert, stand back for a while. Liu Shanlong's complexion was not very good. Nothing was more uncomfortable than to spoil the mood of a drinking party. Looks like there is no way for me and Big Brother Yang to reconcile. Li Fan cried out in regret in his heart, but his expression did not change as he said, looks like the fight between the two of us will continue. We will reconcile. Hee. Yang Ruining put on a fake smile. The originally harmonious atmosphere between the two of them suddenly became tense. I already said that we won't talk about other things. Come, let's drink. Eat more food. Treat this place as your own home. Don't stand on ceremony. Liu Shanlong asked the housekeeper to change the wine cup. The few of them began to push the cup again. But this time, under Yang Ruining's instructions, Ma Wenchang walked in front of Li Fan with the wine cup and directly placed the wine cup under his eyelids. Brother, it was my fault just now. I will also toast you a cup. You have to clink with me. Oh, sure. Li Fan smiled and clinked his cup with Ma Wenchang's. The poisonous mist on Ma Wenchang's finger immediately floated into Li Fan's cup. In just a short moment, Ma Wenchang had once again completed a beautiful poisoning, but Li Fan did not care. He circulated the true qi in his body. On the surface, he did not show it. He had secretly wrapped the poisonous mist with his true qi and sent it towards Ma Wenchang's cup. Ma Wenchang felt Li Fan's true qi. His heart shook and he hurriedly counterattacked. The two men's true qi immediately collided and both sides were in a deadlock. Liu Shanlong watched as the two men clinked their wine cups together. It was as if they were glued together. Neither of them would let go. Brother, do you not want to drink my toast? Are you looking down on me? Ma Wenchang used words to provoke Li Fan, but how could Li Fan be fooled so easily? Senior from the Valley of the Medicine Masters, although your wine is good, how would I dare to drink it casually? Getting drunk is a small matter, but losing my life is a big deal. You actually know that I am from the Valley of the Medicine Masters? Ma Wenchang was shocked again. How did Li Fan know this secret? If you don't want people to know, don't do it. Ma Wenchang, your poison attack has reached the acme of perfection. Do you think that you're invincible in this world? Probably. After all, I can't afford to enjoy the poison in this wine. Li Fan, don't slander me. Yang Ruining hurriedly shouted from the side, how could our Mr. Ma's wine be poisonous? People like you really like to frame others. Since it's not poisonous wine, how about Brother Yang drink a mouthful for me? Li Fan laughed, you drink a mouthful, I drink a mouthful. This is called true friendship. Only a ghost would drink it. The poison in this wine was directly proportional to Yang Ruining's trust in Ma Wanchang's strength. Chapter 3:14. After drinking this cup of wine, he would go see God. Yang Rui would rather not be stupid, he would not drink the poisonous wine for the sake of fighting. However, this Li Fan was too awesome. How did he see through it? Wasn't Ma Wanchang's poison colorless and odorless? How could it be discovered? Could it be that Li Fan had seen through something? Where did this Li Fan come from? Why was he so powerful? The heavens were truly unfair. He was the proud son of heaven, born with a golden spoon in his mouth. Such a powerful martial skill, why wasn't it given to him, but to that useless high school student? The heavens were really blind to have such pity on those useless trash. What this society needed was class, what it needed was a gap. For a high and mighty person like him to rule over those stupid people below him, this was what a society should be like. At this time, Ma Wenchang and Li Fan's wine cups were still touching, both sides arguing endlessly. You're actually also a martial artist. To have such a cultivation at such a young age, you can be considered a top figure. Ma Wenchang pushed the wine cup with one hand while controlling his true qi with the other. Although he said this, he was extremely shocked in his heart. This was because Li Fan only used one hand to hold the wine cup, while the other hand was placed under his body. He only used one hand to do what he could do with both hands. You flatter me. After all, there's a reason why Nan took a fancy to me. Li Fan chuckled. However, you seem to be a little weak. Did you not eat your fill? Brat, don't be so arrogant. I have trained for decades. Could it be that I am inferior to a brat like you? Ma Wenchang was infuriated. Being looked down upon by a brat was the most infuriating thing. How could he lose to someone with his cultivation? That's hard to say. Li Fan laughed. I feel that you haven't trained much in the past few decades. Brat, you're courting death. Ma Wenchang was furious. I was just going easy on you just now. Since you want to court death, I'll grant your wish. As he spoke, the true qi in his body erupted from his dantian. Following his meridians, it gathered on his palm. 5 poison palm. This was Ma Wenchang's strongest palm technique. Ma Wenchang raised the strongest poisonous insects in the world, and the strongest of them were these 5 poisons. The 5 poisonous creatures were the tempered gold toad, the 7-step snake, the soul-hooking scorpion, the 9-winged centipede, and the 3-headed lizard. Every day, Ma Wenchang would use the 5 venomous insects to bite his palms, and then gather this strange poison into his palms. His palms looked as if they were dyed in black ink, like the palms of an Asura from hell. It was extremely frightening. Even Liu Shanlong was shocked, but he was still able to control himself. This was because during the Vietnam War, China had sent several martial arts masters to participate in the war. He had a powerful martial artist under him, and his skills were amazing. Normally, he wouldn't make a move, but the moment he did, he had wiped out an entire company of Vietnamese monkeys. Liu Shanlong believed that Yang Ruining's bodyguard was a martial arts master. But his precious daughter had found a high school student who could actually fight against this old man. 5 poison palm. Ma Wenchang smashed the wine glass with his palm, and pounced towards Li Fan. But Li Fan wasn't afraid. He pushed out with a single hand, and a Ursa Major seal met Ma Wenchang's palm. Idiot, you actually dare to meet my 5 poison palm, you're simply courting death. Ma Wenchang sneered. Meeting his 5 poison palm, this person's intestines would probably be pierced through, and his body would turn into pus and blood. Bang! With a loud explosion, the table beneath the two of them shattered, and the table full of good wine and dishes was ruined. Li Fan didn't even take a step back, and instead stood there calmly. But Ma Wenchang staggered 3 steps back, his left hand holding onto his right wrist. His palm was covered in blood, and it was still trembling non-stop. The fear was greater than the pain. This boy had actually met his 5 poison palm head-on, and was still unscathed. In that instant, he seemed to have used true qi to seal his palm, preventing his poison attack from entering. This feeling was so familiar. Old mister, I think you're really old. This time, it was Li Fan's turn to mock him, and Ma Wenchang gritted his teeth in hatred. What 5 poison palm? I don't feel anything at all. Although Ma Wanchang's internal energy was considered profound, he spent most of his energy on refining poisons. Evil and crooked methods were ultimately not great. My poison attack is invincible, including you. Before Ma Wenchang could finish his words, Li Fan suddenly appeared in front of him. Li Fan's body sank down, and his fists tightened around his waist, and like a spring, he instantly pulled them behind him. Ape attack technique, Ape King Cannon. Li Fan's right hand was like a cannon, and in an instant, it turned into a palm, and suddenly pasted on Ma Wanchang's chest. The power of this palm was higher than the Ursa Major seal. The Ursa Major seal was strong in that it could attack from afar, but this Ape King cannon had to be used in close range, and then fired at high speed, fiercely attacking the opponent. Sure enough, when this palm landed on Ma Wanchang's body was sent flying like a cannonball. This was the essence of the Ape King cannon. The palm was not a cannon, but it turned the enemy into a real cannonball. Rumble. Ma Wanchang's body heavily smashed on the wall behind him. His entire body was embedded in the wall, and a circular crater was formed on the wall. The wall was covered with spider web marks, and it looked like it would shatter at any time. Ma Wanchang's mouth was bleeding. This attack had injured his 5 viscera and 6 bowels. The Ape King cannon's destructive power was very strong, and the damage that Ma Wenchang had suffered was not small. I'm sorry, young Master Yang. Li Fan said apologetically to Yang Ruining, I accidentally injured your bodyguard. I did not expect your bodyguard to be so weak. Where did you hire him from? Is this a scam? Yang Ruining clenched his fists, and his heart was filled with anger. Young man, your strength is not bad. Liu Shanlong laughed heartily. That's impressive. Little Wang, come and clean the table. We still have to drink double. Ah, little Ning, you go home first. When you have time, come and play again. Yang Ruining was almost angered to death. This Liu Shanlong is too much. Is he asking me to leave just like that? Fuck. Indeed, killing the Red Dragon Society was the right choice. There are indeed some things that I need to deal with in the company, but I will go back first. Uncle Liu, I will come and visit you again next time. Yang Ruining found someone to drag away the seriously injured Ma Wenchang and left dejectedly. Ha ha ha, if this kid wants to destroy the Red Dragon Society, it is still too early. After he left, Liu Shanlong smirked coldly. That smirk contained a terrifying murderous intent. Even if Li Fan saw this, his heart could not help but tremble. This Liu Shanlong is indeed a big shot of a city. I have underestimated him. Chapter 315. Liu Shanlong looked no different from an ordinary father, except that he had the aura of a military man. But once he took out the aura of a big boss, it was really frightening. As the saying went, being in the king's company was like being with a tiger. Standing beside him, Li Fan really felt the sense of danger of being next to a tiger. But if Liu Shanlong was a tiger, then Li Fan was Wu Song. So what if he was a fierce tiger? With his martial arts skills, he would fight to the death to subdue him. Alright, those who shouldn't be here have left. The nanny cleared the table, and the few of them sat down around it again. Liu Shanlong's attitude when he spoke was completely different from before. At first, he treated Yang Ruining as his family, and Li Fan as an outsider. But now, it was very different. Liu Shanlong looked at Li Fan as if he was looking at his son-in-law. That look could eat Li Fan up. The more he looked at Li Fan, the more he liked him. This kid could fight, and he was also Two-Face. His daughter could only be subdued by him, and his existence could also bring the Red Dragon Society to the peak. When Liu Shanlong was in power, he couldn't make the Red Dragon Society stronger. He, Sun Jialiang from the Yellow Uniform Regiment, and Yang Chenye from the Vanguard Army were all sworn brothers. Sun Jialiang came out of society when he was in his teens, and later entered the army. He was a soldier for a period of time, and then fought in the Vietnam War. He were brothers who squatted in the trenches. As for Yang Chenye, he was a civil official at that time, and was arranged by the higher-ups to be gilded. But Yang Chenye was still ambitious, and he hit it off with him. The three of them kowtowed in a temple and drank wine together. When these old things were in power, although they all had their own ambitions, No one wanted to hurt their feelings. Therefore, even if their bodies were still strong, they all chose to abdicate and give the family business to their respective children. Only son Jialiang sent his son abroad to study, and let his nephew take over the business. Not to mention, the most cunning one was old son. When it came to Liu Xinnan's generation, ambition could no longer be stopped. The three old men all turned a blind eye to it, letting the children fool around below. As long as they didn't kill the other party, it didn't matter how the group fought. Therefore, there was an unwritten rule among the three major forces in City A. No matter how hard they fought, they could not hurt the patriarch. That was why Wang Baiqiang and Yang Ruining did not attack each other even though they were fighting. This was a matter of principle, a minefield. If they stepped on the wrong minefield, then the consequences would be very serious, and the three families might really perish together. From the iron triangle formed by the three old men to the current situation where the world was divided into three, Liu Shanlong felt that someone was missing to break this pattern, but at this moment, Li Fan appeared. Shining with a golden light, it appeared beautifully in front of Liu Shanlong. He was an outsider. Although he would be her son-in-law, he would still be an outsider. Outsiders could not abide by the rules. And if there was really no other choice, he could kill him to give an explanation to the outsiders, and it would not be too painful. Thinking of this, a trace of ruthlessness flashed in Liu Shanlong's eyes, and then he took the initiative to fill up Li Fan's glass, which made Liu Xinnan stunned. Her father actually took the initiative to pour wine for someone else. Li Fan, although I'm still a little unwilling, the man that my precious daughter likes, let her be. As long as the two of you are happy, as an old man, I will also be happy. Thank you for understanding, uncle. Li Fan muttered in his heart, is there a chance? I'm also old, and I don't want to ask about the matters of the underworld, nor do I like to ask. I just want to ask a question. Liu Shanlong patted Li Fan's shoulder. I just want to know, when are you going to have a son with my daughter? Li Fan almost spat out the wine in his glass, while Liu Xinnan's face was filled with embarrassment. Liu Shanlong had his own thoughts, that Li Fan, this person, would sooner or later be handed over as a sacrifice. But his body was strong, and his genes must be good. He had a grandson, and when Li Fan's empire was passed to his grandson to inherit, then everything would be perfect. Daddy, what are you talking about? It's still too early. Liu Xinnan blushed fiercely, and this was the first time Li Fan saw this girl blushing. What's wrong with having children? Liu Shanlong was unhappy. You're busy outside every day, and you don't even have time to go home for a meal. Is it wrong for me to have a little grandson to accompany me? What uncle said is right. Li Fan quickly toasted Liu Shanlong, but I'm still young, at least I need to go to university before I can talk about marriage. So you're saying that you're planning to play with my daughter? Liu Shanlong was angry, and Li Fan felt the pressure increase again. This old man really had a monkey's face. He changed so quickly. Although I, Liu Shanlong, am not a big shot, but my daughter is my heart. As Liu Shanlong said that, he stretched out his hand and pulled out a tri-edge bayonet from under the table, and stabbed it on the table. Daddy, what are you doing? Liu Xinnan was shocked. Please calm down. He was not afraid that Li Fan would be stabbed, but he was worried that his father would be beaten. After all, Li Fan had such strength, and although his father came from the military, he did not know any martial art. Choose one. Either marry my daughter, or fight. Li Fan's forehead was filled with black lines. This old man was like a lunatic. But he and his future father-in-law, Murong Bo, had two different personalities. Murong Bo strongly opposed him marrying into the family, but Liu Shanlong was forcing him to hasten it. Uncle, I didn't mean that. Li Fan filled Liu Shanlong's glass of wine again. Marriage is a lifetime event, and a man does not have his own career. How can he talk about love affairs? So, you want to start a career first, and then marry my daughter? Liu Shanlong seemed to be a little unhappy. Exactly. Then how many years do you want to start a business? 1 year, 10 years? My daughter's youth can't be wasted. Liu Shanlong said, if you want a career, I have it here. If you marry my daughter and give birth to a grandson for me, the whole Red Dragon Group will be yours. With such a big family business, you can save many years of hard work. Sorry, uncle, I will not give in to this. However, Li Fan put down his wine glass and said firmly, "My career, I will create it myself. Other people's career has nothing to do with me, you brat." Liu Shanlong's eyes showed anger, and he stared at Li Fan. Li Fan was still sitting there with his chest out, looking straight into Liu Shanlong's eyes. "Brat, you have a backbone." Liu Shanlong felt that the brat opposite him was obviously amenable to coaxing, but not coercion. Since he could not use coercion, he prepared to use soft tactics. Chapter 316. When Li Fan came out of Liu Xinnan's house, he let out a long sigh of relief. "I have never seen such an old man." Li Fan was about to collapse. "To even think of a test tube baby, your old man is a little too advanced. My daddy might be a little bored." Liu Xinnan sat opposite Li Fan and sighed. "After all, he is always alone at home, he might be too lonely. If I give him a grandson, he should be happy." "Then what did he say? Getting on the car first and then paying for the ticket, isn't that too much?" Li Fan really wanted to complain. "I didn't say anything, why are you complaining?" Liu Xinnan blushed and rolled her eyes. "My daddy is just that direct, don't mind him. Why don't we really give him a baby?" Li Fan suddenly looked at Liu Xinnan very seriously, and Liu Xinnan blushed even more. But her eyes turned, and she suddenly stretched out a finger and lifted Li Fan's chin. "Why don't we try? If it's a boy, we'll call him Li Dachui, and if it's a girl, we'll call her Li Xiaochui. Hammer your sister." Li Fan slapped Liu Xinnan's hand away. "This devil woman, even trying to seduce him. Actually, I'm fine, it's just pregnancy, it feels quite interesting." Liu Xinnan put her hand on Li Fan's shoulder and said teasingly, "If you want, I can accompany you to give birth in the car." This Bentley was luxurious and spacious, the best choice for going out, home, traveling, and car sex. "You don't seduce me, I'm very determined." There are no cats that don't cheat." Liu Xinnan seemed to not believe Li Fan's nonsense. "Look at young ruining, when we were engaged, he made a vow of undying love, but now, this is a man. Don't you think it's a bit too much to kill everyone at once?" "Humph, this is your nature. From a biological point of view, you are animals that think with your lower body. Your feminist ideology is too serious." "I'm serious." Liu Xinnan rolled her eyes. "That martial arts alliance master of yours is the real feminist. In comparison, I'm the weak one, okay? If that's the case, then I won't refute you." Li Fan had to admit that what Liu Xinnan said made sense. The car soon returned to the house in the old city. Liu Xinnan smiled and said, "Do you want me to come into your house and have a baby?" "Forget it." Li Fan was so scared that he almost peed his pants. If she came into the house, wouldn't she fight with Murongying? He quickly opened the door and got out of the car. Liu Xinnan blew a kiss to Li Fan. Li Fan was so scared that he quickly closed the door. "Damn it, I need to get away from this devil woman. Don't forget, the day we agreed on is coming." Liu Xinnan's shout came from outside the door. "Fuck, this woman." Li Fan locked the door. He didn't know how long this woman was going to pester him. He said that he was going to deal with his father, but he didn't expect that there was something strange going on. "As for having a baby, forget it. I'm still a child, I don't want to take care of one more wife. Taizhu, I'm back." Li Fan focused on his true energy and shouted, but there was a feeling of emptiness. In the past, Taizhu would definitely rush out with a nutritious supper in his hands. Murongying, on the other hand, should be sitting on the sofa next to him, reading a novel. But today, the house didn't even have the lights turned on. Everything was so quiet. By the way, they all left today. Li Fan then remembered what Murongying said to him. Because of Liu Xinnan, he forgot about it. "It seems that I have to sleep alone tonight. I'm used to living with a woman, it seems a little lonely to be alone. Ahaha, it's not like I'm really hugging and sleeping together." Li Fan felt a little silly at that moment. "Am I used to living with Murongying? This habit is not good." Li Fan rubbed his head and was about to turn on the lights. At this moment, a cold wind blew into his ear. Li Fan immediately turned his head, facing the cold wind, and hit it with his palm. Bear King's seal. Bang! Li Fan didn't move, but the person opposite flew out, flipped in the air, and landed on the ground. Li Fan waved his hand, and the living room lights were turned on by his true chi. For a moment, the living room was brightly lit. But when he saw a naked girl, his eyes immediately widened. Fuck, Murong-ari, what the hell are you doing? Li Fan clenched his teeth, waved his hand again, and the living room lights went out. Brother-in-law, husband, I haven't seen you for a long time, I miss you. Murong's coquettish voice came into Li Fan's ears. Brother-in-law is really getting stronger. Murong-ari, please conduct yourself with dignity, Li Fan said coldly. I'm excited to see brother-in-law's husband, why should I conduct myself with dignity? Murong said coquettishly, I still want to give brother-in-law's husband a child. Motherfucker, giving birth again. Don't women nowadays know how to find other forms of entertainment? Why don't you wear clothes at home? Why don't you turn on the lights? I'm also saving electricity for the country. Murong-ari said softly, today is World Lights Out Day. Lights Out Day your sister. It's useless to talk about this with me. Then why don't you wear clothes? Is today still World Lights Out Day? That's not it, but I just took a shower. Murong-ari's voice was soft, which was different from Murong-ying. After all, Murong-ari was still young, but her mind was particularly complicated. I just came out and heard brother-in-law calling me, so I can't wait, like a bird returning to its nest. I'm very excited. Oh, is that so? Li Fan's mouth twitched. I'm quite excited. I want to give birth to a child for brother-in-law's husband immediately. Give birth. It's to suck me dry. Li Fan laughed. The fusion of yin and yang will only make one person die and the other stronger. Aya, brother-in-law, what are you talking about? Why don't I understand? I'm afraid you know more than me. Li Fan crossed his arms and stood in the darkness. Murong-ari, Murong-ari, your sister-in-law is really amazing. These words of brother-in-law and hubby were really intimate. It really does sound like it's real. It's real. You see, brother-in-law and husband have seen my body. I'm actually a very traditional woman. Traditional your sister. Forget it, I'm too lazy to care about you, do whatever you want. Li Fan turned around and was about to leave. Chapter 317. Brother-in-law husband, wait a minute. Murong lovingly said, if I were you, I wouldn't walk around. Why? Li Fan frowned, vaguely having a bad feeling. He tried to take a step forward, but suddenly his legs softened, causing him to kneel down on the ground, using his arms to support his body. You used 5 poison palm. Li Fan never thought that in the dark, Murong lovingly would actually use 5 poison palm to attack him. That's right, brother-in-law husband is really knowledgeable, to actually know this palm technique. Murong-ari cheerfully clapped her hands. I also trained hard for a long time and endured a lot of pain before I was able to master this 5 poison palm. However, my 5 poison palm is not pure enough, and now it's mainly controlled by the 7-step snake's poison. Therefore, with every step that brother-in-law husband takes, the poison will get closer to your heart. After 7 steps, you will fall to the ground and die. You're ruthless. Li Fan deeply frowned. He looked inside and found that the poison has indeed entered his blood vessels, and it's very close to his heart. If the poison entered his heart, it would be game over for him. Brother-in-law husband, you can also detoxify it. Murong lovingly walked to Li Fan's side. Her body's fragrance rushed into Li Fan's nose. As long as you and I are husband and wife for one night, you can detoxify it. Hehe, you're teasing me. Li Fan simply did not fall for Murong lovingless trick. Other than the people from the Medicine King Guiyang sect, no one else can detoxify the 5 poison palm. Sister-in-law, do you think I'm an idiot, trying to coax me with these words? Aya, brother-in-law husband, why are you so smart? Murong-ari sighed and gently slid a finger on Li Fan's chest. It's good to be obedient to me, at least you can be happy before you die. Isn't there a good saying, dying under a peony flower, becoming a ghost is also romantic. I haven't lived enough. I don't want to die yet, so I'm really sorry. As Li Fan spoke, he sat down cross-legged and held his hands in a circle, allowing the true qi in his body to flow faster. He channeled the true qi in his body and sealed the poison in his blood vessels. The 5 poison palm was an extremely poisonous palm technique, but Li Fan had tried it before. If he used his true chi to block it, he could block the poison. It could be said that true chi was an insulator. He let his true chi revolve and attack the poison, forcing it out of his body. Li Fan opened all the pores on his body and used them as channels for the output of true chi. When the true chi gushed out of his body, it would also expel the toxins from his body. Brother-in-law, husband, it's useless. The poison of the 5-poison palm can't be removed. Murong Ari apparently didn't know that Li Fan could control the pores on his body. She confidently said to Li Fan, as long as brother-in-law's husband is obedient and spends the spring night with me, at least you can die happily. Why don't brother-in-law's husband just sit here and let me do the rest? With that, Murong Ari stretched out a finger. This fingernail was very long and very sharp. Qin Chao didn't know what kind of kung fu she practiced. She used this fingernail to cut Li Fan's pants. Li Fan's pants were directly cut open, revealing the important equipment he used to transmit chromosomes. Murong Ari was quite bold. She grabbed the equipment with her fingers and moved it up and down a few times. She seemed to want to arouse Li Fan's desire, but Li Fan was calm and focused on detoxifying. Although Li Fan was a masculine young man, his life was at stake right now. It was not the time to be greedy. He controlled his true chi and compressed the poison. As an expert who could change bones, Li Fan could control every part of his body, including the poison in his body. He could use his true chi to control it. Even the blood in his body, he could detoxify the poison. But Murong Ari didn't know this. She thought that Li Fan was making a fearless effort. She continued to use her hands to release the pressure of the equipment, trying to make Li Fan submit. Since he was a man, he would definitely be moved by her. Murong Ari's face was full of confidence. She must obtain Li Fan's pure yang body. After the yin and yang combination, she could become the strongest. At that time, her sister would not be her opponent. All of this was right in front of her. As long as she obtained Li Fan's body, it would be fine. As for brother-in-law's death, it doesn't matter. In any case, there are so many outstanding men. Let sister find another one. Brother-in-law, husband, give up resisting. You are already hopeless. Quickly listen to the voice in your heart and release the most primal pressure with me. Li Fan didn't say a word. He didn't care about Murong Ari, who was working hard and focused on detoxifying. The poison in his body had been compressed together and condensed into a ball. As long as there was a pass, he could release it. At this time, his sports equipment had reached its limit. Li Fan originally wanted to use his paws to expel the poison in his body, but he didn't expect that the poison would suddenly go out of control. It was as if it was sucked in and rushed out like a tide. Ah! Murong Ari screamed. A black thing rushed in front of her. She vaguely felt that something was wrong and subconsciously dodged. Didn't they say that men should be white? Why is brother-in-law black? Li Fan suddenly opened his eyes. With one hand, he grabbed Murong Ari's neck and lifted her into the air. Murong Ari, when your sister is here, you may be able to act and be rampant. But when it comes to me, if you dare to act like a demon, only death awaits you. Cough cough. I was wrong. Brother-in-law. Do you have the heart to let me die? I am so cute. Li Fan pushed with his hand. Murong Ari's body flew out and hit the sofa behind. Although Murong Ari was a little demon, there was still Murong Ying above him. For her sake, he had to let Murong Ari live. But this was the last time. The next time Murong Ari dared to use such a vicious method on him, Li Fan would definitely not let her live. After all, the limit of his endurance was also limited. Li Fan took a few steps and was safe and sound. He didn't seem to be poisoned at all. Murong Ari was very surprised. She thought of the black thing before and suddenly understood something. Brother-in-law, he actually used such a method to expel the poison? My God. This is unbelievable. No matter what, you are mine. Your pure young body is also mine. They still had to stay together for 2 days. Murong Ari believed that she could definitely take down Li Fan. She didn't believe that he wouldn't be tempted by such a beautiful woman like her. Sister's thing. Snatching it seems to be very interesting. Murong Ari looked at Li Fan's back and licked her lips. Chapter 318. Li Fan locked the door and slept soundly. With Li Fan's current skill, even if it was a rope, he could sleep comfortably. After the detoxification, he felt completely refreshed, and the drowsiness came in droves. Li Fan didn't have any dreams that night. When the sky brightened, there was a burst of fragrant hot air beside his ear. Li Fan woke up with a start. He opened his eyes and saw Murong-Ari standing in front of him with her hands behind her back. She was wearing a white shirt and a pair of pure white underwear. "What are you doing?" Although a woman's attire was very harmful to a man, Li Fan was calm. However, Li Fan's heart was as calm as still water. Although Murong-Ari was beautiful, her heart was too sinister. If he fell into her beauty trap, he would be the one who would suffer. Although it was very happy to have sex, it would be too tragic if he died after one sex. He was not a praying mantis. He didn't want to be eaten by a female praying mantis on his wedding night. "This is a kind wake-up service, brother-in-law," Murong said with a smile. "In this way, brother-in-law will slowly be moved and spend the night with me." Li Fan didn't say anything. He just looked at Murong, making Murong's hair stand on end. "Brother-in-law, why are you looking at me like this? Is it because I'm too beautiful?" "I'm just looking at a female praying mantis," Li Fan said lightly. He didn't expect Murong to laugh. "Hee, brother-in-law, science has proved that the female praying mantis wants to eat their partner when they are newlyweds. This is actually nonsense. You must have seen too much Black Cat Sheriff and it left a shadow in your heart." Her words made Li Fan speechless, making him seem particularly ignorant. Murong Ying was knowledgeable, but how could her sister Murong-Ari be so smart? "No, it should be every woman around me. Why are they so smart? This makes me look stupid. So, brother-in-law, husband, don't be afraid that I will eat you up. Let's have an in-depth interaction. Don't guys always get excited in the morning? That has nothing to do with you." As Li Fan spoke, he pushed with his hand and a wave of true qi acted on Murong's body, pushing her body out and landing at the door. "Brother-in-law, husband, how can you be so heartless? I like you so much, but you heartlessly reject me, boo-hoo." With that, Murong wiped away her tears. Damn, this little demon's acting skills are really outstanding. A true actor was far more powerful than him. However, although Li Fan's IQ wasn't as high as theirs, he wasn't a fool. He wouldn't believe that Murong loved him. "If you want to cry, cry by yourself. I'm going to school. Brother-in-law, hubby, I made a breakfast of love for you," Murong-Ari hurriedly said. "I don't dare to eat your breakfast. I still want to live for a few more years." "Brother-in-law, husband, how can you think of me like that? How could I be so bad? I'm not that bad, you're the one who's bad." Li Fan glared at Murong-Ari, but Murong-Ari said with grievance, "Brother-in-law, hubby is prejudiced against me." "Prejudiced? Do I have to have a good impression of someone who wants to kill me every day?" Li Fan sneered, but Murong-Ari said, "Brother-in-law, hubby, death is just the beginning. Moreover, after you were sucked dry by me, you became one with me. That's why you're not dead, but you're together with him forever. I really like brother-in-law, hubby, so I want to be with brother-in-law, hubby, forever." Li Fan looked at Murong-Ari's smile, and felt that her smile was very sick. "I don't understand. You should have been favored by the heavens since you were young. Both your family and your sister dote on you. Why is your heart still so abnormal? Brother-in-law, hubby, your words are too much." Murong-Ari said with a sad face, "My love for brother-in-law, hubby is real. I don't really want your twisted love. It's been like this since we were young. Whatever my sister likes, I also like." Murong-Ari licked her lips. "Moreover, whatever I like, my sister will give it to me. So, brother-in-law, hubby, you should also be mine." "Sure enough, you're too sick. You must have been spoiled by your sister." Li Fan felt that there was something wrong with Murong-Ari's way of thinking. If this continued, sooner or later she would become a terrible devil. "Brother-in-law, I like you, you should obey me." Murong-Ari looked at Li Fan and smiled like a flower. "Obey me, brother-in-law, hubby. At the last moment, I will definitely make you feel true happiness. From now on, with my body as the axis, You are not allowed to enter within a radius of 2 meters. As Li Fan said that, he struck the wall beside him with his palm. Bam! A palm print immediately appeared on the wall. It was very frightening. Otherwise, you will be like this wall. With that, Li Fan picked up his school uniform and turned to go downstairs. Brother-in-law, hubby, at least eat the breakfast of love that I made. Murong Ari hugged the beautiful food box and followed behind Li Fan with some unwillingness. What kind of breakfast of love can you make? Li Fan asked snappily. I worked hard to make this. Murong Ari said as she opened the food box, revealing the breakfast inside. Fried scorpion, braised spider, steamed white snake. Brother-in-law, this breakfast is full of protein and nutrition. Li Fan almost vomited blood. Then keep it for yourself. Goodbye. He didn't want to eat these things. They were all poisonous insects. What the hell was there to eat? Brother-in-law, goodbye. Murong Ari could only send Li Fan to the door. Standing by the door, she didn't step out of the door. After all, she was wearing skimpy clothes. Li Fan strode with his strong legs, using qinggong, rushing toward the school. Murong Ari stood in front of the door, seemingly worried about personal gains and losses. At this time, a courier happened to pass by Li Fan's house. Seeing Murong Ari dressed skimpily, he couldn't help but whistle. Murong Ari smiled sweetly and casually swung her hand. Ah, my eyes. Invisible poison was scattered, colorless and odorless. The courier hit it head-on and drove for a distance. His eyes began to turn red, and then tears of blood flowed out from the pain. He rolled down from the electric bike and painfully dug his eyes, his body twitching into a ball. He didn't know what happened at all. All that was left in front of him was darkness, accompanied by a fatal pain. The poison took away his eyes, but Murong Ari closed the door as if nothing had happened. Brother-in-law, hubby, see you later. Chapter 319. When he arrived at school, Li Fan finally felt relaxed. Only in this place could he remember that he was a high school student. He had not graduated yet, but he was already like a Jianghu person. He had no choice. Who asked him to find a Wulin leader as his fiancé? Li Fan, have you read the latest Wulin Chronicles? During the break, Lil Four Eyes, who shared a desk with Li Fan, gave him a push and woke him up. Ah! Li Fan raised his head and looked at his military advisor in confusion. What the hell is Wulin Chronicles? You don't even know about Wulin Chronicles? Bai Lin Luo was a little surprised. This is important information to understand first-hand Jianghu information. I don't know, Li Fan's answer made Bai Lin Luo speechless. He secretly took out his phone and opened an app. Li Fan glanced at the name of the app. It was indeed called Wulin Chronicles. What is this? Li Fan was a little curious. Could it be a mobile game? This is an app, similar to a news app. But the news on it is all about what happened in the Jianghu. Bai Lin Luo pushed his glasses. Since you are a Jianghu person, you can't be ignorant about the things happening in the Jianghu. Fuck, Li Fan looked at the big and small news on the app. Things like Widow Amei's door was always knocked on at midnight, the most handsome young man in Wudong Mountain, the exclusive aphrodisiac secret of Medicine King Valley. The only thing that was reliable was the news of the 19th martial arts tournament in Mount Hua being broadcasted live. The development of the Jianghu is a little too advanced. Li Fan found it a little hard to accept, but Bai Lin Luo opened a piece of news and showed it to him. The Pearl of the Golden Eagle Castle, who can bring her home? What is the Golden Eagle Castle? Li Fan didn't know much about these Jianghu inquiries, but Bai Lin Luo patiently explained it to him. The Golden Eagle Castle is a place similar to a relay station in the Jianghu. There are all sorts of people here, and there are many experts. Many people in the pugilistic world like to gather in places like Golden Eagle Castle to exchange information and information. Oh, it's similar to the towns where adventurers gather in games. Li Fan made an analogy. More or less, and it's the most popular town. Bai Lin Luo pointed out this point. Yin Wuchao, the lord of the Golden Eagle Castle, is nicknamed the Desert Eagle. He is also a famous big shot in Jianghu. I understand. Li Fan nodded. Is he looking for a son-in-law? Yes, this is the most sensational thing in the game recently. Bai Lin Luo nodded. It's even more eye-catching than the 19th martial arts tournament. It is said that the young talents of the major sects in the Jianghu are already eager to try. It is written here that the martial arts tournament will be held during the new year. Why are they in such a hurry? Li Fan could not help but mock. Bai Lin Luo reminded Li Fan, brother, don't look down on this martial arts tournament for a spouse. The Golden Eagle Castle is an important information station in the Jianghu. I don't need to explain its significance to the various sects, right? Moreover, the Martial Arts Alliance Master Conference is held once every 5 years, but the young talents in the Jianghu have never had the chance to spar. Who is the strongest young expert in this generation of the Jianghu will probably be decided in this martial arts tournament for a spouse. TSK. Yin Wuchao actually thought of this method to find a son-in-law. How ugly must his daughter be for her to not be able to get married? I don't know, but I heard that his daughter is quite beautiful. As for what she looks like, I have not seen her. Alright, I have a rough idea. Li Fan laughed. This app is quite fun. I reckon that there will be a live broadcast of the martial arts tournament. When the time comes, I really want to watch the fun. I'll go next. I think that you should try this martial arts tournament for a spouse. What? Li Fan was shocked when he heard that. Are you kidding me? You want me to participate in the martial arts tournament for a spouse? Don't you know the situation at home? Isn't a tigress enough for me? If she knows that I secretly participated in the martial arts tournament for a spouse, won't she strangle me to death? If Murongying knew about this, Li Fan reckoned that his muscles and bones would be crippled. That woman must be a Leo. She was domineering and possessive. My main point is not for you to find a partner, Bai Lin Luo said. You are now the head of Fafen Express. Keeping a low profile is far from enough. You need to be famous. He reminded Li Fan, the more famous you are, the more profits you will get. The name Little Tyrant has just started to spread in the Jianghu, but it's like throwing a pebble into a lake, causing ripples. But if you don't do something now, I'm afraid the ripples will disperse. Bai Lin Luo's words were very obvious. Li Fan tapped his fingers on the table. Go! Don't go! What Bai Lin Luo meant was that finding a partner was secondary. It could even be said that it was completely unnecessary. He only needed to go to that place, that arena, and make use of that environment to defeat the heroes of the Jianghu to create his own reputation. Bai Lin Luo had his considerations. Logically speaking, he was right. This opportunity was once in a blue moon, otherwise, there was still some time before the next martial arts circle convention. If he wanted to show off his skills on that stage, even if he could wait, his escort agency couldn't. Just like what Li Fan had said to Bai Lin Luo, if he didn't go crazy, he would be too old. What do you think? Bai Lin Luo had made this suggestion to Li Fan after some analysis. This is not a small matter. Let me think about it. Li Fan couldn't make a decision now. He had to think about it carefully. Alright, but my advice to you is to go. Bai Lin Luo chuckled. Not only you, but Guan Wenbao and Yang Kai must also go. The three of you are the strongest fighting force in our agency. No matter which one of you wins, it will make our agency famous. Millimeter, I think I know what you mean. Li Fan didn't rush to give an answer. At this moment, the bell rang. The new class teacher was a woman in her 30s who taught mathematics. She walked in with a thick stack of test papers and said, "Students, before we announce the results of the previous quiz, I have another announcement. From today onwards, there will be a new member joining our class. Please welcome her." The students applauded. At this moment, a girl in a small dress pushed the door open and walked in with a fragrant breeze. The appearance of this girl made all the boys hold their breaths. All the girls were jealous, and Li Fan's jaw dropped. Damn, why is it her? Hello everyone, I am Murong Ari. We'll be studying together in the future. Take care of Xiao Ari. Chapter 320. Fuck. This was different from what they had agreed on. Didn't Murong Ying say that her sister would only be staying at home for 2 days? Then why did she appear at this place? There must be a mistake somewhere, right? She's so beautiful, she's so cute. I want to be her boyfriend. The boys couldn't help but stare at her. Murong's expression seemed to be a little shy. She lowered her head and kept fiddling with the corner of her clothes. Damn you, why are you pretending to be shy? Do you think I don't know your personality? Now you're here to deceive the ignorant public. Xiao Ari is meeting everyone for the first time. I'm a little nervous, Murong said a little timidly. I hope you don't mind Xiao Ari. No, we'll take good care of Xiao Ari. I can tutor you in your studies. I'm the best student in the class. Deng Siwei's words caused a wave of boos. After the former principal's downfall and Chang Chuanxi's resignation, Deng Siwei's existence had been quite awkward. He rarely spoke and only used his grades to express his inner disdain for others. But this time, he couldn't resist Murong's beauty and once again revealed his true nature. Li Fan felt that his life had begun to inexplicably have some pressure. The life that he wanted was not like this. Students, don't be fooled by this female devil. Her conscience was actually very bad. Xiao Ari, you look so similar to Director Murong. Your surname is the same too. A girl couldn't help but ask. I don't want to hide it. Murong seemed to be a little panicked. Sister said that I can't reveal my identity. Her flustered and cute appearance deeply fascinated the boys. Even the girls felt a little sorry for her. This girl must have had a hard time with such a strict sister. They really are sisters. They really look alike, but their breasts seem to be a lot different. Is it because they haven't developed yet? The crowd discussed. Hearing that they were talking about her small breasts, Murong's heart turned cold, but she pretended to be wronged and said, I know. I'm not as outstanding as my sister. But don't look down on me. I'll work hard. No. Why would anyone look down on you? Xiao Ari is also very cute. The surrounding students were all talking about it. Even Bai Lin Luo looked a little excited. Xiao Ari, is your English good? Do you want me to tutor you? Fuck. Li Fan tugged at him. Isn't your goddess Liao Wushuang? Yeah. Bai Lin Luo admitted it without hesitation. Then why do you love Murong so much? I feel that Murong loves her like a little sister. I don't know why, but I can't help but feel sorry for her. Bai Lin Luo scratched the back of his head. Maybe it's Murong's unique charm. Li Fan cursed in his heart. Holy shit, this Murong is clearly a demoness. Nothing good can come out of being with her. If this goes on, my classmates will be poisoned by her. What should I do now? How can I save my fallen classmates? Xiao Ari, you're new here. We should take care of you. Even the teacher fell into Murong's fake charm. She looked at Murong with a little affection and said, which seat do you want to sit in? Choose one. Oh no. Li Fan had a bad feeling in his heart. What's with this chill on my back? Why am I feeling scared? Holy shit, I didn't have this feeling when I fought with those masters. Thank you, teacher. Murong couldn't help but laugh. Then, her eyes swept around the class and finally fell on Li Fan. At this moment, Li Fan wished that Murong was blind. However, Murong still walked straight towards him and stopped beside little Four Eyes. She said to Bai Lin Luo coquettishly, This little brother. Can you give this seat to me? Li Fan prayed in his heart. Bai Lin Luo, you must hold on. You're a man. You can't just give in like this. Ah, sure. Bai Lin Luo gave up on Li Fan's hope. He nodded happily. This seat is really good. It's easy to look at the blackboard, and it's easy to listen to the teacher. Also, the feng shui is good. If you like it, come and sit. Fuck you, are you selling a grave? Li Fan almost wanted to scold Bai Lin Luo. Thank you, little brother. Murong Ari happily agreed and even bowed to Bai Lin Luo in a dignified manner. Li Fan was so angry that his nose almost became crooked. Damn, where did all the integrity of a man go? This student, we have to take care of each other in the future. Murong naturally sat beside Li Fan. Li Fan was so angry that he almost broke his teeth. Teacher, I want to change seats. Li Fan stood up and said loudly. What's the matter, Li Fan? Ban Ren was stunned. He didn't know what Li Fan was up to this time. Although he had already stepped down from his position as the school committee chairman, he still had the title of the little tyrant. Even the teachers would avoid him. Li Fan was the tyrant of second high. The good thing was that although Li Fan wasn't someone to be trifled with, he never took the initiative to provoke others. "I don't want to sit with her," Li Fan said directly. "I'm used to sitting at the same table with Bai Lin Luo, so I request to sit with Bai Lin Luo." The surrounding people looked at Li Fan in surprise. Some people said that Li Fan was gay, so he had hemorrhoids. Could it be true? Such a beautiful Murong took the initiative to ask to sit beside Li Fan. It was unknown how many people were envious of her. But Li Fan rejected her. He actually rejected her. Oh my God, is he a man? Hoo. Does student Li hate me? Murong suddenly cried. She kept wiping her tears as if she was very sad. Li Fan almost collapsed. This woman, she's playing this trick again. Damn it, if this goes on, it would be bad for me. In the past, Li Fan was the hero in the eyes of the students. But now, because of the appearance of Murong, he felt that he had become the public enemy. Everyone's gazes fell on him, and all of them were filled with hatred and anger. "If you hate me, I'd better leave." Murong seemed to want to stand up, but the surrounding people had begun to reprimand Li Fan. "Li Fan, you're too much. How can you bully a little girl like this? Li Fan, I've misjudged you. In fact, you're no different from Hua Dahong." Chapter 321. Fuck. This bunch of bastards. Because of a woman, they actually turned against me. Li Fan almost cursed out loud. He has a feeling of wanting to vomit blood. Although Murong Love was crying, her eyes revealed a kind of craftiness and complacency. "Li Fan, she only wants to sit beside you, not eat you up. What are you afraid of?" Even Bai Lin Luo criticized Li Fan. Li Fan almost collapsed. Fuck, Murong loved this woman. She is definitely a scary demoness. The moment she appeared, her position in the hearts of the students was completely overturned. Not only that, even a loyal friend like Bai Lin Luo was sowed dissension. This is too scary. Really too scary. Li Fan had a feeling of wanting to immediately kill Murong Love. This woman really shouldn't be allowed to live. If she is alive, she might be a huge threat to me. This was the cry that came from Li Fan's heart. At the same time, an evil voice rang in his ears. "Fall for Murong Love, obtain her pure yin body, and suck her dry. This way, I can be unparalleled in the world. Those who looked down on me will have to kneel in front of me." This voice became louder and louder, and more evil. It was as if a hand was seducing Li Fan. What kind of person was Hua Dahong? Then he was a complete bastard. And now, he was actually placed together with him. This was simply a great humiliation to him. "Li Fan, can you still endure this? You have a body full of divine skills. Why are you being bullied by these ordinary people? As long as you wave your hand, they will become cold corpses. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey, then others will fear you, and dare not provoke you. If you don't teach them a lesson, they will never know how scary you are." This voice was like a curse, constantly ringing in Li Fan's ears. Li Fan felt that the entire world in front of him was beginning to turn blood red. The faces of his classmates also became ferocious, and the most terrifying thing was Murong Ari, who was beside him. She had transformed into a venomous snake, opened her bloody mouth, wrapped around him, and then spat out her fangs at him. "Shut up!" Li Fan shouted. His voice was infused with genuine qi, which instantly spread throughout the entire class. These students were immediately startled. That sound shook their ears to the point of pain, and their vision darkened. Their stomachs were in pain, and they almost vomited. They finally remembered. This person was called the Little Tyrant, and he was the school's tyrant. If he really got angry, who here could be his match? Although the beauty's charm was great, they couldn't care less about the beauty now. Everyone fell silent. Then I'll sit behind Li Fan, is that okay? Murong Ari could also see that everyone was afraid of Li Fan. If she tried to provoke Li Fan's dignity, she was afraid that it would backfire. Therefore, Murong Ari took a step back, and retreated in order to advance. Yes, you can sit. The boys behind her didn't hesitate to give up their seats, and it seemed that this matter could come to an end. Li Fan let Bai Lin Luo obediently return to his seat, and at the same time, patted his shoulder, indicating that he had lost his mind. Bai Lin Luo was also a smart person. He suddenly felt that something was wrong. He had never been so infatuated with a girl. Even if it was teacher Liao Wushuang, it was because of her profound knowledge and her excellent English that he was attracted to her. And this Murong Ari, what did she rely on to attract him? Bai Lin Luo couldn't say it, which was why he felt that it was strange. This Murong Ari, there must be something wrong with her. No wonder Li Fan was so repulsed by her. Was there a reason? Li Fan sat in the classroom with his arms crossed, and the teacher didn't dare to look at him. And Murong Ari also quietly sat behind him, not daring to disturb Li Fan, as if she was very afraid of Li Fan. Li Fan is so scary. Even the new girl was scared by him. Really scary. Seems like he is the new generation Hua Dehong. There was a lot of discussion around, whispering. Although the voice was very low, but Li Fan's hearing was very good, and he heard all of it. Execute them. Execute these stupid mortals. That shout sounded again, as if it wanted to pierce through Li Fan's brain, but Li Fan simply closed his eyes, and with both hands complaining, he entered the state of meditation in the classroom. Li Fan didn't use his martial arts, because once he used his martial arts, 5 clouds of smoke would appear on top of his head, which was the state of 5 flowers blooming. That would be too shocking, and Li Fan didn't want to make a scene that would shock the world. He was just adjusting his state, not letting the heart demon enter his body. As a martial artist, he couldn't succumb to his own heart demon. Li Fan made a few deep breathing movements, letting his mind relax. And at this time, a cold wind appeared, and Li Fan subconsciously opened his eyes. A black shadow sat on the table in front of him, and he looked exactly like him. However, his eyes were red, and his skin was a little dark. Hey, do you see, the people around you are all so stupid. The black shadow opposite looked at Li Fan, with a smile on his mouth. And the surrounding world became bright red again, everyone's face became very ferocious, and their mouth revealed fangs. These people hate you, even if you have helped them and fought for them. The black shadow said to Li Fan, in this world, there are no heroes, only murderers. No matter how much you do, when you can't satisfy their needs, you will become a different species in their eyes, or even an enemy. They would condemn you in words and in writing, making you worthless, thus showing off their strength. Is it really worth it to sacrifice yourself for these people? This is my own choice. Li Fan didn't speak, he only needed a thought, and the black shadow would know what he was thinking. Heart demon, you can't control me. Don't tell me you are willing to be controlled by these people. The heart demon suddenly appeared beside Li Fan, replacing Xiao Bai to sit there, and grinned at Li Fan. You can become very powerful. Hey, as long as you are willing to listen to your heart, no one is your opponent. Without relying on you, I can also become stronger. No, you must rely on me. Dream on. Li Fan clasped his hands together, and cleared his mind. He recalled the appearance of the old monk in meditation, and used this opportunity to clear his heart demon. Even if you suppress me, you can't change your heart. The heart demon let out a series of roars. Listen to me. I am you, and you will become stronger. Li Fan silently chanted the Heart Sutra. Surya, form is not different from emptiness. Emptiness is not different from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The heart demon let out a few screams, and slowly disappeared in front of Li Fan. Chapter 322. After returning home, Li Fan had been copying the Heart Sutra. He did not have much research on Buddhism, but he had some understanding of the Heart Sutra. This was because when he was in junior high, a language teacher loved Buddhist scriptures and talked to him a little. He could not remember anything else, but he had some impression of the Heart Sutra. Once he reached home, Li Fan first copied the Heart Sutra 30 times. He had to say that this Buddhist Dharma was broad and profound, and it was also very useful for cultivating one's mind. After Li Fan finished writing the Heart Sutra, he practiced the fist twice before he felt a little better. If he had known earlier, he would have studied more Buddhist Dharma. This way, it would also be very useful for suppressing his inner demon. Li Fan's talent was abnormal bone changing, not inner demon as one. Otherwise, if he used the inner demon, it would also seem quite powerful. The battle with Murong's disciple that day was still vivid in Li Fan's mind. After practicing the fist twice, Li Fan took a hot shower with a body full of sweat. Finally, he returned to the room and sat cross-legged on the rope. Although this rope was very thin, it was not a difficult thing for the current Li Fan. He sat cross-legged on it, like an old monk meditating, motionless. At the same time, he silently recited the complete Heart Sutra that he had memorized. With the improvement of his martial arts, the inner demon's entanglement with Li Fan became more and more intense. And the arrival of Murong's love almost lit a little flame of passion for the inner demon. Li Fan had to strengthen the training of his state of mind to be able to resist this inner demon. Just as he was about to fall asleep from reciting and drowsiness hit him, a fragrant wind blew in front of him. Li Fan opened his eyes slightly and saw Murong's love pushing the door open and walking into the room. Li Fan almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Today, Murong's love was actually wearing a chiffon, with a faintly discernible black underwear. It looked very flirtatious and very tempting. After wearing this kind of clothing, the temptation was 100 times stronger than not wearing it. With such seductive clothes, figure, and Murong's angelic face, she was definitely a killer weapon against men. "Murong Ari, what do you want?" Li Fan berated in a deep voice. "Brother-in-law, hubby, I just learned a hot dance. How about I show you?" "Not good. Brother-in-law, hubby, don't be shy. I'll dance for you." "Damn it, I clearly said no. Don't ask me if you've made up your mind." Li Fan's heart is breaking down, but Murong doesn't care about Li Fan anymore, twisting and turning in front of her. He had to admit that the dance moves were really hot. On top of that, Murong loved her own beauty, and this chiffon. To a boy who had yet to experience the ways of the world, this was definitely a nuclear bomb level of lethality. "Murong Ari, this girl, where did she learn this kind of dance from?" That black shadow appeared in front of Li Fan again, standing beside Murong Ari, caressing Murong Ari's delicate body wantonly, and shouting at him. "What are you waiting for? Go on, fuck this hot girl, suck her dry. Damn this demon." At this time, it came out to join in the fun again. Li Fan bit his lips, restraining his impulse. Amitabha, out of sight, out of mind. Li Fan simply closed his eyes, not looking at Murong Ari's hot dance. And Murong Ari seemed to have expected this. She smiled and moved closer to Li Fan from time to time. Even if he closed his eyes, the faint fragrance of Murong Ari's body was still drilling into his nose, making Li Fan itch. Not only that, Murong Ari kept moving forward, sticking close to Li Fan's body, constantly rubbing against Li Fan's body. After all, there was only a layer of chiffon between them. Li Fan could even feel the temperature of Murong Ari's soft skin. It was really difficult for a normal man to resist this kind of temptation. Li Fan resisted the hysterical demon in his ears, trying his best to forget everything. "Brother-in-law, husband, open your eyes and take a look. My dance is very beautiful. Do you want to touch and feel it?" He could still hear Murong Ari's teasing voice in his ears. "Heart Sutra, yes, I still have the Heart Sutra." When Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva was deep in the Prajna Parameter, he saw that the 5 skandhas were empty, and he passed through all suffering. Li Fan immersed himself in the Buddhist teachings of the Heart Sutra, even more seriously than when he was copying the sutra. As he studied the Heart Sutra over and over again, he suddenly felt that the Buddhist sutra seemed to come to life. In his mind, there seemed to be a golden bodhisattva sitting in front of him, with one hand gently pressed on the top of his head. Following that, it was as if countless wisdom was instilled into his mind, making Li Fan's mind suddenly clear, and his heart was incomparably calm. All the hustle and bustle, as well as the allure of women, all of it had left him at this moment. Wisdom imbuement. This phrase originally came from the Buddhist language, which meant that the Buddha instilled great wisdom and enlightenment into people. At that moment, Li Fan also seemed to have an epiphany, and the voice of the demon in his heart also completely dissipated in his ears. That Murong Ari was still trying hard to dance, but she finally seemed to be a little impatient. She simply went forward and stretched out her hand to take off Li Fan's pant. However, Li Fan suddenly opened his eyes, which seemed to emit 2 rays of golden light. Ape. Face. Buddha. At that moment, Murong-Ari felt that she saw the illusion of the Buddha sitting behind Li Fan, staring at her with a dignified gaze. Li Fan only stretched out a hand and slapped the air in front of Murong-Ari. Palm of mercy. Murong-Ari's hair was blown up, and the wall behind her suddenly cracked, revealing a palm print. On the palm print, there was a fly perched on it. The fly flapped its wings and flew away. This was the palm technique of the ape-faced Buddha that Li Fan had comprehended. The swift and fierce palm wind also carried a sense of benevolence. Although this palm did not kill Murong-Ari, it was as if it had slapped her heart. Murong-Ari took 2 steps back and knelt on the ground, staring blankly at Li Fan in front of her. Li Fan was like an old monk in meditation, looking at her solemnly. There was an invisible sense of rejection in his body, but also some holiness, making it impossible for her to approach him. Get out! Li Fan scolded. Murong-Ari did not hesitate, lowered her head, and left dejectedly. She closed the door, as if she had never been there. Only the palm print on the wall was still a record of what had happened before. Li Fan let out a long breath, and the Buddhist light on his body seemed to disperse. Ape-faced Buddha, at the critical moment, he had actually comprehended some Buddhist Dharma, and had also activated the highest form of the ape strike. He really did not know whether to thank Murong-Ari or scold Murong-Ari. But no matter what, at least the demon in his heart was suppressed, and it was a small reward. Hopefully, Murong-Ari would not make any more trouble tonight. Chapter 323. Li Fan's 7 gallant fists had already awakened 6 of its ultimate moves. Black Tiger Emperor, Lightning Deer, Bear Cavalry, Ape-faced Buddha, Sky-swallowing Toad, and Dragon King Snake. There was still one more advanced form of Crane Strike that he had yet to comprehend. When he comprehended the highest form of Crane Strike, his strength would probably increase by another level. Li Fan had finally managed to scare Murong Love away temporarily, but he did not know what kind of move she would use next time. After comprehending the ape-faced Buddha, Li Fan's inner demon had completely calmed down. Only Li Fan was left in the room. He wanted to find a way to comprehend Crane Strike, but he had no idea. Li Fan could only put it aside for now. When it came to martial arts, haste makes waste. It was better to take it one step at a time. After practicing martial arts for less than a year, he had already turned from a newbie to an expert. This kind of progress was unimaginable to ordinary people. All of this was due to his pure yang constitution. If he did not have the pure yang constitution, he might still be a little high school student, struggling for every exam. That kind of life was too boring. The world of martial arts was where he belonged. It seemed that this joust for a spouse really was worth a trip for. But when he thought of his family's jealous chief, Li Fan dismissed the idea. He would let Guan Wenbao and Yang Kai participate. Both of them were strong enough to make Phenomenal Express famous. Li Fan was a little excited when he thought of Phenomenal Express coming out from the shadows. Li Fan finally felt a little sleepy, and the air seemed to have become very fragrant. Slowly and leisurely, he entered dreamland just like that. When Li Fan opened his eyes again, he found himself tied to the bed in the guest room. The chains that locked him were at least as thick as 2 fingers. Li Fan tugged hard, but he could only feel pain in his wrists. He could not break free at all. Murong Love! Li Fan roared. Murong Love's beautiful face moved closer to him. Dear brother-in-law and husband, did you sleep well last night? Looking at her smiling face, Li Fan seemed to think of something. What method did you use? Ayaya, it's just a little sleeping powder to help me sleep. Murong winked at Li Fan. What do you want? Realizing that his clothes had been stripped off, Li Fan had a bad feeling. Brother-in-law, your husband kept rejecting me, so I had to use force. As Murong spoke, she took out a syringe and drew out some kind of crystal clear liquid from a small bottle. This is the latest aphrodisiac in the United States. As long as you give your husband an injection, he will be able to last for 3 days and 3 nights. It was unknown how many wealthy people flocked to this kind of medicine. After all, there were no side effects. So, Brother-in-law and husband don't need to worry. Don't worry, just one injection will do. Don't worry my ass. Li Fan couldn't help but roar. The side effects of this broken thing of yours are so great that I'll have to pay with my life. Brother-in-law, don't worry. Murong looked at Li Fan with a smile. At the last moment, I guarantee that you will be happy. Hehe, do you want me to go to the underworld with a smile? That's right, that's right. Brother-in-law is so smart. Murong Ari giggled as she looked at Li Fan, her fingers moving back and forth on his chest. I can't bear to see brother-in-law's husband die. Then be a good girl and eat your breakfast. Li Fan sneered, it's not too late for you to stop now. I can pretend that none of this happened. That won't do, brother-in-law. Murong Ari said seriously. Ever since I was young, I've always wanted what I wanted, so I had to get it. If I can't get it, I must destroy it. You're really spoiled. Li Fan frowned. If I were your father, I would definitely spank your butt. Aya, so brother-in-law likes to play this kind of game? Murong nodded, lying beside Li Fan and whispered in his ear, Dad. Your daughter wants. Fuck. Li Fan had the urge to vomit blood. It must be said that men are indeed animals that think with the lower half of their body. With Murong doing this, coupled with the state she should be in the morning, Li Fan really couldn't control himself. Murong, love. Li Fan suddenly roared like a tiger. The magical sound rushed into Murong's eardrums. Murong Ari shuddered from the shock. Her eardrums hurt, and her heart raced. Brother-in-law, why are you still struggling at this time? Murong couldn't help but complain. You're going to be a person soon, don't be stubborn. Even if you scream your throat hoarse, no one will come to save you. I'll give you one last chance. Li Fan glared at Murong, looking at the needle in her hand. If you don't stop, I won't be polite anymore. Brother-in-law, husband, you really know how to joke. Murong laughed happily. You're already like this, being trampled on by others. How can you still say such big words? Murong, you look down on me. Li Fan snorted. I've already given you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. With that, Li Fan opened his palm. Although he was chained, he didn't need to do anything. Swallow. God. Toad. Li Fan could clearly feel every inch of true qi flowing, as if he was feeling his own body. A large amount of true qi was released from his palm, attacking Murong's body, directly blowing away Murong's love. Murong's body was directly hanging on the wall behind her. Li Fan's true qi was on her body, making Murong unable to come down. Little girl, do you really think you can trap me like this? Li Fan shook his true qi, causing the chain to make a loud clanging sound, as if it was directly knocking on Murong's heart, causing her heart to tremble. This was just the beginning. Li Fan shook his true qi again, causing the chain to make another loud sound. After 7 to 8 consecutive times, the chain finally broke into two with a bang. After breaking free from one hand, Li Fan used one hand to crush the other end of the chain, then sat up and broke the chain on his feet. He continued to release true qi with one hand, pressuring Murong's body, and then said, Are you ready to accept your punishment? Little girl. Brother-in-law. I'm so cute. You definitely can't bear to hurt me, right? Of course not. Li Fan sneered. Your sister, your father are not here, no one can save you this time. Looking at Li Fan's smile, Murong's heart turned cold. Chapter 324. Li Fan's smile doesn't look like a good person's smile. Even Murong felt scared. But when she heard Li Fan's words, she suddenly thought of something and shouted. If you dare to touch me, my father and my sister will not let you off. Really? Li Fan laughed. I can quietly kill you and then chop you into dumpling stuffing and make it into dinner. When your sister comes back, we will eat you together. And I can say that you went home by yourself. At that time, your disappearance will probably be blamed on those who have enmity with your Murong family, right? Li Fan's words made Murong's body twitch. Too scary. How could he think of such a scary idea? Hoo, I was wrong. I don't want to die. Brother-in-law, let me go. I won't dare to mess around anymore. Murong was scared by Li Fan to the point of crying. But Li Fan saw a trace of slyness in her eyes. This little girl was probably still plotting something. Hee, If I don't teach you a lesson, it seems like you won't understand. As Li Fan spoke, he turned his palm, and Murong Ari's body immediately turned upside down. She leaned against the wall, but her buttocks were raised high. Brother-in-law. What are you doing? I'm making up for the education that you didn't receive. As Li Fan spoke, he raised his right hand. Alien bone swap. His arm became a lot thicker, like a strong man's arm. He slapped Murong's but hard. Pa. That crisp sound was like the sound of firecrackers. It was very pleasing to the ear. Murong screamed in pain. At the same time, her body shook. My God. I was actually beaten. I have never been beaten before, but I was actually beaten. Murong Ari had always been spoiled since she was a child. Her father had never even touched a single hair on her body, but this Li Fan, he actually hit him. Who does he think he is? Li Fan, you bastard, how dare you touch me? I won't let you off. Ayo, you don't call me brother-in-law anymore? Li Fan smiled. You don't know your manners now, little friend. Li Fan, I am the second miss of the Murong family. If you make a move on me, my family will not let you off. My sister is the leader of the martial arts world, and my father is the supreme martial artist. They're all quite powerful. Li Fan nodded and gave Murong another slap. It felt good. This little girl, except for her breasts, the other parts of her body had developed quite well. What about you? And who do you think you are? A second miss who bullies others with her power? I didn't. You bastard. Murong loves to shout, when I absorb you, I will be number one in the world. At that time, even my sister will have to look up to me. What kind of strength is stolen? Li Fan gave Murong another slap. You only know a bit of crafty plots. What are you shouting for? A little girl, not learning something good, thinking of sitting back and enjoying the fruits of others' labor. In your dreams, even I have experienced many life and death situations to reach my current level. How could I give you this kind of skill that I risked my life to obtain, stinky girl? With that, Li Fan gave Murong another slap. Murong Ari was infuriated by these slaps. Damn Li Fan, how long was he going to keep slapping? When I regain my freedom, I must kill him. I'm standing here, pure young body, come and get it. Murong loves to hear Li Fan's voice. Her body trembled in anger. Her butt is swollen and painful, as if it's on fire, making Murong loves not only physically, but also psychologically. How long do you want to hit, bastard? Let's fight until tomorrow morning. Bastard, don't you want to go to class? How can class be more interesting than spanking your butt? Li Fan chuckled, I go to class every day, but the fun of spanking isn't something that I can have at any time. Li Fan, I'll fight it out with you. Ah. Every time Murong loves to shout, she will be slapped by Li Fan. Every time she scolds, she will feel more pain. In the end, Li Fan suddenly stops spanking Murong. Instead, he carries her out of the bedroom. What are you doing? Murong Love's acupuncture points are sealed by Li Fan with true qi, making her unable to move. She is thrown into the courtyard by Li Fan, lying on the cold ground. Li Fan picked up a shovel and dug the ground beside him, slowly digging a deep pit. What are you doing? Although her body can't move, her mouth can still speak. Looking at Li Fan's action, Murong Love's heart is getting heavier and heavier. To build a new home for you. Li Fan points to the hole he is digging. I think, with your character, you should be able to do well down there. You're crazy. You asked for it. Li Fan starts to sneer. Do you know how to be buried alive? It means to throw you into this hole and then bury you with sand. You can't move, can't shout, can only wait for death in the darkness and despair. No, don't. This time Li Fan's words really scare Murong Loves. Brother-in-law, I really know my mistake. Brother-in-law, please let me go. Your words that go against your heart are useless against me. Li Fan is merciless. You are just a trouble to me. If I keep you, there will be endless troubles in the future. If I kill you, I can live a good life. Hoo, brother-in-law, don't kill me. I will listen to you in the future. Really? Li Fan raises his eyebrows. Really, I can be your slave, as long as you let me go. Murong nods her head again and again, But Li Fan is full of distrust towards her words. Just in time, try this. Li Fan's hands form a circle, and a mass of true qi condenses in front of him. This true qi power makes Murong surprised. How is this the power of a human? The degree of true qi compression, I'm afraid it's on the same level as my father. How can a mere Li Fan do all this? As for Li Fan's true qi, it suddenly turned a little black, as if it had been infected by some virus. What is this? Without waiting for Murong to understand, Li Fan suddenly stretches out his hand and slaps this true qi into her body. That true qi is like a small worm. Following Murong's meridians, it instantly lurks into her heart. This is a new move that Li Fan created based on the last time he was poisoned. It is very vicious. As long as his true qi reaches the heart, it is like a poison, it can take the other's life at any time. Murong obviously feels this pressure as her face turns pale. Chapter 325. It could be said that Murong Ari was indeed spoiled since she was young. She had never suffered such grievances before. Everyone in the family, including her sister, spoiled her. No matter what request she had, they would satisfy her. Therefore, Murong Ari stayed at home and lived like a little princess. But Murong Ari was not reconciled. She always felt that she was inferior to her sister in all aspects. Therefore, when she was young, she would ask for whatever her sister liked. Every time, her sister would give her what she wanted. Murong Ari was very satisfied, but also very dissatisfied. Because even if she could get everything, she would still not be able to surpass her sister. Her sister's talent in fighting far surpassed her. Murong Ari was not reconciled. She was obviously blessed with a pure yin body, but why was she inferior to her sister? A pure yin body was different from a pure yang body. A person with a pure yin body was most suitable to practice devil arts. The effect of Murong Ari practicing devil arts was 3 to 4 times that of an ordinary person. Therefore, Murong Ari secretly practiced the Frost Heart Sutra and Frost Palm behind her family's back. But just this move was not enough. Murong Ari felt that her sister's martial god technique was too powerful. Just when Murong Ari was feeling a little desperate, her angel-like brother-in-law appeared. Pure Yang Body, a real Pure Yang Body man was placed in front of her. As long as she absorbed him and fused yin and yang, she would definitely be able to surpass her sister. But her brother-in-law's vigilance was really too strong. He kept rejecting her, not giving her a chance to make a move. Therefore, Murong Ari could only settle for the next best thing. She stole the Medicine King Valley's poison manual and practiced the terrifying 5 poison palm, but she never expected that the 5 poison palm would be ineffective on her brother-in-law. She really went for wool and came home shorn. Not only did she not absorb the pure young body, she even lost herself. That kind of pressure from the position of her heart made Murong Ari feel as if she was in hell. "Brother-in-law, I beg you. I won't dare to do it again," Murong begged with a pitiful expression, which would definitely soften any man's heart. However, Li Fan had already steeled his heart. He had forgiven Murong Ari, but Murong Ari would not let him off. For this woman, placing his own restriction on her was the best method. This way, he wouldn't hurt her, and he could also make her stop thinking of hurting him. He was really too quick-witted. "Brother-in-law, I'm begging you. Boo-hoo, I'm really begging you." Murong knelt in front of Li Fan, grabbed his leg with both hands, and begged bitterly. "Absolutely impossible." Li Fan said, "Just bear with it honestly for me." "But brother-in-law, I really know I was wrong. Please give me a chance." Murong Ari begged with all her might, but Li Fan's gaze fell on other places, deliberately not looking at Murong Ari, as if he was really heartless. Just when Li Fan moved his gaze away, Murong Ari suddenly sent out a palm. Her palm was like black ink, slapping towards Li Fan, but Li Fan's hand was even faster, and he grabbed Murong Ari's wrist. "I knew that you, this girl, wouldn't know your place." Li Fan chuckled as he held Murong Ari's wrist like an iron hoop. Murong Ari trembled in pain as she screamed again and again. "Brother-in-law, brother-in-law, I was wrong. Brother-in-law, please spare me." Murong Ari felt that her wrist was about to break, and this was just the beginning. Li Fan snapped his fingers, and Murong Ari's heart began to ache. Murong Ari trembled on the ground as she was in extreme pain, and even her soul was trembling. This kind of pain was really deep into her bones. When had Murong Ari ever suffered such pain? Her tears fell uncontrollably. Since young, this was the first time she cried sincerely. In the past, as long as she shed tears, no matter what, her family would agree to it. But today, no matter how much she cried, no matter how much tears fell, it was useless. Li Fan was still standing there, looking at her coldly, without a trace of emotion. Murong Ari felt deep despair. Could it be that she was really going to die? Murong Ari felt a trace of regret. If she didn't provoke brother-in-law, if she didn't provoke this man, perhaps she wouldn't die. So unwilling. In the end, I still couldn't win against my sister. Really unwilling. But at this time, Li Fan stopped his cultivation. Murong Ari took a long breath, and her head was full of cold sweat, as she knelt on the ground and kept twitching. Murong Ari, do you know your mistake? Li Fan's voice was like a bell, shaking Murong Ari's ears. This servant knows her mistake. Murong Ari had the attitude of a little slave, as she timidly said to Li Fan. This servant won't dare to do it again. Master, please spare my life. Murong Ari didn't dare to provoke Li Fan anymore. That feeling of almost dying was deeply imprinted in her heart. Do you really know your mistake this time? Li Fan asked again. I really know my mistake. I really know my mistake. Master, please forgive this servant. Murong Ari's pitiful appearance, with tears in her eyes, was really touching. Li Fan didn't really want to kill Murong Ari. If he wanted to kill Murong Ari, he wouldn't have placed this restriction on her. Murong Ari was quite smart. If she thought about it carefully, she should understand. But she had tasted the pain of her own restriction, so she didn't dare to have other thoughts in the future. Remember, the restriction in your body, only I can undo it. If I die, the restriction in your body will go out of control, and at that time, you will also die. Li Fan reminded Murong Ari, if you dare to have other thoughts, this grave is just right for you. With that, Li Fan reached out and pushed Murong Ari into the pit. This servant really doesn't dare to do it again. Murong Ari honestly stood in the pit, lowering her head and fiddling with the corner of her clothes. Fine, I will give you another chance. Li Fan stretched out a finger, but this is also the last chance. This servant understands. Murong Ari nodded. This servant doesn't dare to do it again. Master, please look at this servant's performance. You don't need to be like this, just be normal. Li Fan really couldn't stand Murong Ari's appearance. Moreover, in front of your sister, if you do this, wouldn't I be dead? I'm dead, and you're also dead. Master, rest assured, this servant has a sense of propriety. Murong Ari bowed to Li Fan. Master, you must be hungry. This servant will go and make some food for you. Okay. Li Fan agreed. He also planned to observe Murong Ari. Whether she was stable or not, he really needed to test more. Until breakfast in the morning, Murong Ari was well behaved. The breakfast she made was also very clean, without adding anything. After Li Fan ate, Murong Ari also tidied up, preparing to go to school with Li Fan. Chapter 326. What are you going to do? Replying to Master, this servant is going to school? Murong looked at Li Fan, not knowing why he stopped her. We are going to school together. What would we look like if they saw us? Li Fan said, you can take Murong's car. I will go to school by myself. Yes, Master. When Murong heard this, she seemed to be slightly disappointed. Li Fan saw this scene and at the same time, he muttered in his heart. This lass, after being beaten by me, she still wants to stick to me. Since young, I'm probably the only one who taught her a lesson like this. If there was a strict person by her side to control her, she wouldn't be so presumptuous today. As for that old fellow Murong Bo, he was very strict to outsiders but to his own daughter, he really doted on her to death. This old thing, I will defeat him sooner or later. Murong naturally didn't know that Li Fan was thinking about how to deal with her father. She even tugged on Li Fan's sleeve. Really? Can't we go together? No. All right, this servant understands. Murong lowered her head and pouted. Li Fan was too lazy to care about her. Who knew if this lass was acting again? With her acting skills, it wouldn't be a problem for her to get 2 Oscars. Besides, he couldn't go to school with Murong. After all, there was another lass waiting to torture him. After exiting the door, Li Fan didn't walk far before he arrived at Lin Yuhin's building. Looking at Lin Yuhin, who was walking down with a long face, Li Fan felt a wave of bitterness in his heart. Why is this lady's face so ugly? Is her period coming? You're 5 minutes late. Lin Yuhin didn't even need to look at her watch. She casually looked at the sun and knew the time. This woman's IQ was so high that it made one's hair stand on end. Li Fan looked at his cell phone and realized that he had arrived 25 minutes earlier than usual. You're wrong. I arrived 25 minutes early. Li Fan quickly said. I've told you before, if you're dating a woman, you have to be at least half an hour in advance. According to the time, you're 5 minutes late. Am I wrong? Lin Yuhin snorted, then took out her notebook and made a note. If you're late, 5 points will be deducted. Fuck, do you have to be so strict? I have something to do today, so I'm delayed. I don't care. Points will be deducted. Forget it then. You can leave by yourself. Li Fan said, I'll spoil you. He turned around and was about to leave when Lin Yuhin stomped her foot and blocked his way. What kind of boyfriend are you? Can't you tell that I'm in a bad mood? I didn't provoke you. Why are you angry at me? Girls need to be cokes. Lin Yuhin said angrily, how can you be a boyfriend? As a boyfriend, I have to endure my girlfriend's bad temper. Li Fan couldn't understand. Of course. Otherwise, who would I be angry at? Lin Yuhin seemed to feel wronged. You're the closest person to me. I feel that no matter what I do, you'll forgive me. I just want to vent my anger. Are you not going to let me? After saying that, she really cried. Squatting on the ground, she hugged her knees and lowered her head. Fuck. She really cried. Li Fan felt a headache coming on. It seemed that this girl really had some sad things on her mind. Miss Lin, don't cry. Li Fan shouted, but Lin Yuhin ignored him. Some passers-by walked over and saw this scene. They were still muttering. Ayo, someone is bullying a girl. TSK, this guy is too much. Li Fan felt that he was greatly wronged. He was really unlucky. But when Lin Yuhin cried, his heart really ached. He bent down and squatted on the ground. He reached out his hand and gently touched Lin Yuhin's hair. Xiao Yeye, Xiao Xianxian? Let's not cry, okay? Li Fan felt that it was very difficult. Lin Yuhin also ignored him. He really didn't know how to coax girls. Could it be that he wanted to plant a seed in Lin Yuhin and make her listen to him? First, it was not to the extent of doing this to Lin Yuhin. Second, he could only plant one seed. If there was another, he would not be able to control it. If he gave his love to Murong, he could not give it to others. I was wrong. Miss Lin, please forgive me. Li Fan apologized profusely. Lin Yuhin seemed to have cried enough. She wiped her tears and raised her head, looking at Li Fan with teary eyes. Say that you like me. Li Fan was stunned. What kind of development was this? Say that you like me, Lin Yuhin said again with some emphasis. Like you, say it all. I like you. Lin Yuhin, you are too damn beautiful. You attract me too much. I AO like you. I like you so much. Mph, that's more like it. Lin Yuhin nodded in satisfaction. Then, she wiped her tears and stood up. You are done venting your anger. Can you tell me now? Who made you angry? Nothing. It's about Mom. At the mention of this, Lin Yuhin was in a bad mood again. Recently, Mom's stall was chased away. Her business is not doing well. Was she chased away for setting up an illegal stall? Li Fan couldn't help but ask. Of course not. Lin Yuhin emphasized, my mom is doing business in a legal stall. She has paid her stall fee this year. But because she didn't sell the required items, she has been troubled. I see. Li Fan nodded, if that's the case. Top student Lin, do you dare to skip class with me? What do you want to do? Lin Yuhin was stunned for a moment. She didn't understand what Li Fan meant. I want to go to my mother-in-law's place. Li Fan winked at Lin Yuhin. Lin Yuhin was smart and immediately understood. You mean, let's go. I finally know. I have to go and take a look. Li Fan always liked to meddle in other people's business. Moreover, this was not considered as meddling. If Yuan Chuanli was unhappy, Lin Yuhin would definitely be unhappy too. If Lin Yuhin was unhappy, he would also be unlucky. He really wanted to see who would dare to cause trouble for a small stall that was operating in a proper manner. It was not the first time that Lin Yuhin skipped class. After all, when he was hospitalized, Lin Yuhin skipped class to come and help. The two of them rode the bicycle all the way to the alley of the ancient city. The ancient city was not far from the old city. There were some buildings left from the Russian occupation and could be considered as antiques. Lin Yuhin's mother, Yuan Chuanli, set up a stall there. There were many tourists in the entire old city. Therefore, there was this market with all kinds of stalls. Li Fan rode the bicycle and arrived at this place. This market was filled with stalls. The left and right sides were crowded together. There were all kinds of things sold. It was a dazzling lineup. Lin Yuhin looked for her mother and pointed. Over there. Chapter 327. The ancient city bazaar was one of the most famous bazaars in City A. The busiest time here was at night. In the past, Yuan Chuanli had set up a stall here and sold a lot of pancakes a day. She could earn about 400 yuan a day. She had to pay 2,000 yuan for the stall every month, and the remaining 5,000 yuan was for her husband's medical expenses. If they lived frugally, the mother and daughter could spend about 1,000 yuan a month, sometimes even less. They also had to pay 1,000 yuan a month for the security here. The so-called security fees were collected by a group of gangsters. Although Yuan Chuanli was a little unwilling, she still gave them the money. After all, everyone gave it to her. She couldn't break this rule. The remaining 3,000 yuan was Yuan Chuanli's savings for her daughter's college expenses. Her life was not bad. Although it was a little hard to run a stall, Yuan Chuanli was satisfied when she thought that she could earn money for her daughter and maintain the family. But there were some changes recently. The gangsters who used to only collect security fees now asked Yuan Chuanli to buy raw materials from them. But the raw materials in their hands were expensive and of poor quality. If she listened to them, she wouldn't even be able to save more than 1,000 yuan a month. Her daughter needed money for college, and her husband also needed money for medical expenses. Naturally, Yuan Chuanli couldn't agree. Therefore, those gangsters had been looking for trouble these days, making Yuan Chuanli's business worse and worse. If this went on, she wouldn't be able to live a good life. Yuan Chuanli's expression was very bad. She casually tidied up her stall. Just then, two familiar figures appeared in front of her. Hello, Auntie. Li Fan bowed to Yuan Chuanli. Yuan Chuanli looked at them and was a little surprised. Why are you here? Didn't you go to class? I had an exam in the morning, and then it's a holiday. Li Fan didn't even blush when he lied. Lin Yuhin wanted to pinch him, but she resisted. Her mother was also a smart person. If she did anything, she would definitely be able to see through it. I thought that since it's a holiday, I'll come to see Auntie and see if I can help you. Oh, you're such a good child. Yuan Chuanli's eyes lit up when she saw Li Fan, the rich husband. I'm content that you have this kind intention. I can't delay your studies. Why don't you take a stroll in the library or go to the amusement park? Lin Yuhin was a little surprised. This didn't sound like something her mother would say. No, we're here to help Auntie, Zhongxian said with a smile. Li Fan said thoughtfully, I also want to experience the feeling of starting a business, so I'm very interested in your work. Aya. What kind of work is this? I'm just selling some stuff. Yuan Chuanli was a little embarrassed. Compared with Li Fan's family business, her business was not worth mentioning at all. Any business starts from primitive accumulation. Li Fan said seriously, Auntie, this is the earliest accumulation of capital. Let me see how I can help you. Mom, I'll help too. Lin Yuhin was very familiar with the process. She put down her school bag, stood to the side, and began to help her mother prepare the raw materials. "Ah, Moon Fairy is here? Long time no see." The stall owners beside them greeted Lin Yu-hin. Lin Yu-hin responded sweetly to them one by one. She looked like she was taking care of everything. "Aya, how good would it be if I had a daughter like Moon Fairy? My child's grades are terrible. If only she had half of Moon Fairy's." The surrounding people said one after another. Yuan Chuanli's face lit up, and her mood became better. Li Fan also followed Lin Yu-hin to help. His knife skills were not bad, and he was also quite familiar with cooking, so he did not drag her down. Yuan Chuanli was a little surprised. She thought that these rich second-generation heirs did not know how to cook. She did not expect Li Fan's cooking to be quite good. Li Fan observed for a while. Yuan Chuanli's business was quite good. There were many people coming and going in the market, and there were many people buying pancakes from her. Yuan Chuanli had also sold pancakes for a long time. Her skills were good, and the pancakes looked, smelled, and looked good. The taste was enough to attract many customers. However, not long after, two hooligans squeezed through the crowd and walked over. One of them, who had dyed blonde hair, slapped Yuan Chuanli's chopping board. "Auntie, where did you buy the flour, eggs, and meat?" The blonde said with a grin. "From the Meat Alliance." Yuan Chuanli looked very embarrassed. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" The blonde lit a cigarette and took a deep drag. The hooligan beside him was playing with a butterfly knife in his hand. He was quite good with it. "Auntie, I've told you many times, haven't I? If you want to sell things here, you have to get them from our store. Are you fucking deaf? How many times do I need to tell you? The things in your store are not hygienic, and they're expensive." Yuan Chuanli picked up her kitchen knife. "Kid, let me tell you. When I set up my stall here, you were still at home making dung eggs. Don't you dare act like a hooligan. I'm paying the fees and doing business properly. I've even paid for the security fees. If you dare to run in front of me again, I'll chop you up." After all, Yuan Chuanli had set up her stall for so many years. Moreover, she was raising a child by herself. Her character was more or less fierce. "Oh, you're quite arrogant, aren't you?" The blonde looked at Yuan Chuanli from the corner of his eyes, and Yuan Chuanli did not hesitate. "So what if I'm arrogant?" Yuan Chuanli did not want to be bullied in front of her daughter. Moreover, this was a busy market with so many people. She did not believe that these two hooligans would dare to do anything to her. If she lost in terms of momentum, she would really be bullied in the future. "All right, you're ruthless." The blonde curled his lips. "Nail, go." "All right, brother." The bulky hooligan next to him walked over and took out his butterfly knife. Li Fan frowned and held a chopstick. If this guy dared to make a move, the chopstick would pierce through his palm. But before Li Fan could make a move, the hooligan named Nail had already cut his palm. Then his hand began to bleed. Nail screamed and splashed his blood on Yuan Chuanli's stall. My hand is broken. Ah. This Nail did not leave. He stood in front of Yuan Chuanli's stall and waved his palm, splashing blood everywhere. Yuan Chuanli was stunned. Lin Yu-hin was also stunned. None of them expected that this hooligan did not play by the rules. He actually hurt himself. Li Fan saw it clearly. Although this hooligan cut himself, he did not do it ruthlessly. He did not hurt his artery. Obviously, he was an old fox who had been doing this all year round. They did not hit Yuan Chuanli, nor did they smash her stall. They just wanted to disgust Yuan Chuanli. Chapter 328. Nowadays, the hoodlums are not stupid, especially the contractors of this market. If they really hit Yuan Chuanli, they will not be able to do it. As long as they continue to disgust Yuan Chuanli, making Yuan Chuanli unable to continue her business here, everything will be fine. The yellow hair and his burly underlings play such a role. That stinky blood spilled on the chopping board, directly messing up Yuan Chuanli's business. The surrounding customers also hide far away. No one wants to touch this bad luck. You guys. Yuan Chuanli is half dead from anger. If this goes on, Her business will not be able to continue. These hoodlums are really too much. They were deliberately trying to ruin his business. Auntie, you are refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The yellow hair sneers again and again. In this market, if you want to do business, you must buy raw materials from my family. Otherwise, I will make sure that their business fails. No one is an exception. 2 hoodlums are causing trouble here, but the market's management actually did not come out to deal with it. Li Fan knows that both sides are in cahoots with each other. The burly man is still swinging his hand, spraying more blood on Yuan Chuanli's stall. Yuan Chuanli is at her wit's end. She can't really use a kitchen knife to chop these 2 people. That would be a crime. Even if Yuan Chuanli is swift and fierce, she is still a small businesswoman. She does not want to cause too much trouble. But just because she is helpless, doesn't mean that Li Fan is helpless. Li Fan suddenly reaches out and grabs that burly man's wrist. What are you doing? Nothing, look at how scared you are. Li Fan chuckles, I have some medical skills, I will help you take a look. As he says that, he has already injected his true qi into that burly man's wrist, sealing his qi and blood. In this way, the bleeding from his wound also stops. No matter how he swings, no blood comes out. Buddy, don't try anymore. Cut your main artery, that way you can bleed. Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at the gangster in front of him who had cut him twice in the usual way. Since we're going to play, let's play for real. It's boring to put on a show all the time. If you can't do it, I can help you. As he spoke, Li Fan grabbed the brawny man's wrist and pressed it on the table. With his other hand, he picked up the kitchen knife beside him and slashed at the muscular man's wrist. Help! The brawny man was so scared that he peed his pants. Li Fan didn't look like he was just scaring people. The burly man had been in society for so many years. He could tell at a glance whether a person was serious or not. At that moment, he seemed to see the killing intent in Li Fan's eyes. He was truly afraid. Clang! The kitchen knife hit the chopping board, and the blood-stained board split into 2. Is your hand better? Li Fan looked at the gangster who was trembling like a sieve and asked. Yes, it's all healed. The brawny man was terrified. Li Fan's gangster aura wasn't something that could be easily faked. Now that you're done, why aren't you scramming? Li Fan scolded, if you dare to cause trouble here again, I'll chop off your hand so that you won't ruin it. Kid, you're very arrogant. The blonde looked at Li Fan. Do you think you can handle this mess by yourself? Justice is in the hearts of men. Li Fan stared coldly at the blonde in front of him. Who the hell are you to dare to come here and act like a tyrant? Ignorant kid. The blonde laughed. I'm from the Yellow Uniform Regiment. This area has always been under the Yellow Uniform Regiment's jurisdiction. You even dare to provoke the Yellow Uniform Regiment. I'm afraid you won't have it easy. Oh! Wang Baiqiang's men? Li Fan raised his eyebrows and the blonde immediately started scolding. Fuck, who the hell are you to dare to call our big brother by his name? It's just a name, what's there to panic about? Li Fan was neither warm nor cold. I've even beaten up Yang Ruining before. Do you think he dares to show off in front of me? Fuck, you're better at bragging. The blonde did not believe Li Fan's words. Since you guys don't want to abide by the rules, then just you wait. I'll make sure your stall can't continue operating. With that said, the blonde pulled his brawny man's underling, turned around and squeezed into the crowd. Li Fan, thank you for your help. Yuan Chuanli looked gratefully at Li Fan. I just don't know what other tricks those people will come up with. It's all right, auntie. I'll be here for the whole day. Li Fan helped Yuan Chuanli take out a new chopping board and cleaned it. I want to see how capable they are to dare to cause trouble in the downtown area. That's right, Li Fan. You must have a lot of powerful bodyguards, right? Yuan Chuanli's eyes lit up. Thinking of those brawny bodyguards on TV, her heart was filled with confidence. Li Fan was almost amused. Selling pancakes and bringing a few bodyguards, wouldn't that be too ostentatious? Auntie, don't worry. I'm the most powerful bodyguard. With that said, Li Fan made a stance. I've learned boxing before. Ari. Yuan Chuanli obviously did not take Li Fan's words seriously. A rich family's disciple learning boxing was just a hobby. If he really fought with a few hoodlums, Even 2 fists would find it hard to fight 4-hand. After the 2 hoodlums caused a ruckus, Yuan Chunli's business became a lot quieter. Everyone seemed to be afraid of causing trouble. Yuan Chunli's complexion became even uglier. Her face was as long as Changbai Mountain. Li Fan thought for a moment and came up with an idea. "Auntie, leave the matter of attracting more people to me," he said and rolled up his sleeves. "Today, I'll show Auntie my skills and add a recipe for our shop." "What recipe?" "Kung Fu Jian Bing." Because they were setting up a stall in the downtown area, Yuan Chunli's stall was different from other small stalls. Her cart had a total of 4 stoves, which could provide more food when there were a lot of people. But now that there were no customers, she couldn't even use a single stove. Looking at Li Fan, he stretched out his hand and lit up the 4 stoves. "Ah, Li Fan. What are you doing?" Yuan Chunli and Lin Yuhin did not know what Li Fan was planning. But Li Fan did not answer. Instead, he picked up 4 eggs and threw them in his hand like he was doing acrobatics. This attracted some people's attention. This kind of clown's best technique was not difficult for a kung fu expert like Li Fan. He spun around for a while and then threw the 4 eggs into the air at the same time. Li Fan picked up 2 spatulas and poked them twice. The 4 eggs cracked in the air. The egg white and egg white inside fell on the hot iron pot. The egg white and egg white were very clean. That golden yellow egg yolk was floating in the middle of the egg white. Li Fan threw out 4 ham sausages. Then his other hand held the kitchen knife. Like he was performing a beautiful knife skill, he easily cut these ham sausages evenly and placed them on the side of the hot pot. There were already a lot of people around who were attracted by Li Fan. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.